The stream is starting now. Um,
I don't see it yet.
what's crackalacking, y'all? I know you don't probably see it yet, but it's about to start.
Okay.
It's the Minkle Jackson Show. We're live on Track Talk Radio as well as live on the YouTube channel. I don't know why I'm holding the remote. We got Steph on the phone. We're trying to get James on the phone too. Um, I think it's just me tonight. Oh man, I'm saying a lot. Steph, what do we got for tonight? We're not gonna get started right away because we still got the music playing, and we're gonna wait for someone else to get on the call. But what's crack-a-lacking? How's it going?
I am, let's see, I'm texting James right now.
Oh my gosh.
See.
So due to no, let me get something straight. I do not have coronavirus. But my thing
sure?
is I know, yes, I'm very sure.
Okay, well that's good then.
But I know that people are freaking out to some degree, and so I'm opting to stay my ass at home. I don't think anybody I know has it because most of the people I know have not been traveling out of the country. Probably don't talk to a lot of people that travel out of the country, and the folks that I know do not have it. So anyway.
But you don't have to have traveled out the country.
No, but like, even I know that, but I'm saying that's like
back here.
No, I get all that. I don't care about none of that shit. Well, my point is that's what people are freaking out about. Like, oh my God, someone's flown out of the country, then they must have like coronavirus. So I'm putting a stop to any of that shit. I don't care nothing about that shit. People need to stop fucking freaking out. I'm honestly getting tired of it because I've been told by several people that because my allergies flared up and because I said I was sick, that they feel like I have coronavirus. And for me, the thing is like this. Just follow the instructions like every other fucking person and wash your damn hands. You'll be okay. But the thing is, everybody's in a state of panic. I'm sure that James wasn't, but I had been told by my employer to stay home. I've stayed in the house all freaking day, and I've been coughing and sneezing all over the damn place. My cough is because I smoke weed, okay? My cough is not because I have coronavirus. My sneezing is because I have allergies, all right? And I'm saying that on the record because I'm getting tired of people hitting me with the, ew, you're nasty, you got coronavirus. And like, they're not playing because everybody's like low-key freaking out. But I'm here to tell y'all are fucking ridiculous. We're not in the third grade. Grow the fuck up and wash your hands. It's pretty simple. Anyway, do we got James on the call?
Aimed at me. Look, I feel attacked.
No, that ain't aimed at you. Your jokes are funny, but no, I've actually had people who are like, they're like, oh, you're sick, you must have coronavirus. I'm like, and I tried to even tell the people at my job, like, look, I have been sick for a month and a half, maybe even more. It just has been lingering. And I'm not somebody that is super fucking weak when they get sick, unless it's severe like it was the last time. So I just keep pushing through. So I can go on about my days, but a migraine will put you out. The sneezing will put you out. The congestion will put you out. And that's what I have been suffering from. So whatever these corona niggas have, I don't have that. Because if I had that, I'd have already been laid up in the ER and probably would have been one of these 9 victims probably. So y'all need to chill out. All right. Anyway, the stream is up.
James just responded and said as soon as he's done cutting, he will call in. I told him to call me, and then I'll add him in, just because you'll probably be not looking at your phone.
No, that's good. Okay, so James is going to join us as soon as he's done cutting hair. James is, he works at Pound for Pound Barbershop, so he's getting that money, hustling. Shout out to everybody that's over there. Usually we host our shows there on Thursday nights, but tonight we're back at the old spot in Kirkland. So let's hold on, let me check to see where the music is at. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all how the show is starting. So anybody that's listening to the show on Track Talk Radio, the music that they're hearing, they're starting off with 1, 2, 3, 4 straight rap songs, and then it's going to Genuine Differences, just to break it up a little bit. The rap songs that we're starting with are a little bit intense because this episode is going to be kind of intense. We're talking about a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff that has to do with race, discrimination, and then obviously we're going to make some jokes about coronavirus probably. But a lot of the stuff we're talking about today is pretty intense. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you don't think so, Steph, but I think so. Or maybe you do. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Definitely. Wait, did you send me this? Yeah.
Intense show.
Yeah, it's going to be, hold on. I'm about to copy.
A lot of issues that are going to anger people. At least I get angry when reading them or hearing about them.
See, I don't know if I get super. I mean, I do get worked up. I can't say that I don't get worked up, but I don't know if I get angry specifically because a lot of the stuff, you know, once it happens, it happens. And there's not a.
It's like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like continuous bullshit in my opinion. So, matter of fact, tonight's gonna be one of these nights where I just kick back and hold this damn microphone. So we're gonna start in about 50 seconds. We're gonna jump into the show, and we're gonna start off with Nathaniel Woods, and we're gonna talk about a crazy story with Mr. Nathaniel Woods. And I'm sure his day today has been extremely eventful, and probably more eventful than 99.5% of our world will ever understand. Because I'm sure this does not happen to many people, what has happened to him today. So after we intro the show, we will get into it. Let's see. Steph, you think it's weird that I got 4 rap songs playing and I go right into genuine differences? and then right after that, it's 1, 2, 3 more rap songs and then another genuine record. What the hell? All right, hold on. Let me intro the show real quick. All right, let me stop the music. Anyway, welcome. You are now tuned in live to the Meaningful Jackson Show. We're on Track Talk Radio. It's just me tonight, people. And that's the greatest gift you can ever get. Seeing my beautiful face, I actually have somewhat of a voice because I spent the last 2 days not really using it, keeping myself in quarantine. No, I do not have coronavirus. My allergies have been absolutely horrible. So my migraines, my congestion has been on level 10,000. It's been awful. Haven't really slept a lot, almost had no voice, but now we're back. Just in time to do the show, and I'm sure right after this shit is done, my voice will be done. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. We are live on Track Talk Radio. We do have a live show for you tonight. And then as usual, because it's Thursday, as soon as my show goes off on Track Talk Radio, you can keep it locked in because the Ryan show is right after that. So shout out to Ryan, Hampton's Dave, Mr. Cheeks. Big salute to the New York guys. They're doing big things. Who else we doing shout outs for? I'm gonna just get these out of the way. Shout out to Sherry. Sherry's doing big things, but still has not reached out to me to let me know what all the good news is from earlier in the week. Steph, I can't believe it. I've been sitting in suspense for 2 days. I hear that there's all these good things about to happen, and then Sherry don't even hit me up. Sherry, reach out. What's cracking? Let's see who else we got. Shout out to everybody that's not tripping about coronavirus. Shout out to those who are working at all the hospitals. We applaud you for, having more of a heart than a lot of these people that are walking around pretending to be medical experts. You guys are in the thick of it. You're dealing directly with the people. Some of you are dealing directly with some of the victims that we have had. So I want to make sure that we give you a shout out because you obviously have not panicked and folded like a lot of these people who are walking the streets on a daily basis. So shout out to anyone who's dealing with that. And then obviously shout out to the families of anyone who has, fallen to this new, virus that we have that people are freaking out about. All right, Steph, let's get into it. What's first?
Let's see here.
Well, we're going to talk about Nathaniel Woods. Nathaniel Woods, man, this is interesting. So I'm going to say I went kind of hard for this today. There was a thing called SaveNate.com. I probably sent it to 100 people, and I'm talking about directly from my phone. I probably sent it to 100 people. I got tired of sending it to other people after that. I was posting it on all my social medias and everything. And the website was geared specifically to send letters to the governor to put a stop to Nathaniel Wood's execution. He was supposed to be executed tonight for he has been convicted of killing 3 police officers, but he did not kill them. The guy who killed them admitted it, has been serving his sentence. And then this entire time, Nathaniel has also been serving his sentence and has been waiting for today to be executed, which has been complete bullshit. This does not happen very often, but from time to time, we do have these cases that pop up where states like janky ass Alabama are wanting to follow through with their stupid ass laws that require them to lock people up after 3 strikes or execute them based on, whatever little precedent that they set in the 1800s or some bullshit like that. They have this shit locked in, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to execute a man who didn't do, I don't want to say he didn't do anything, because apparently he was a part of maybe the process of what happened. He was involved in some manner, but he did not kill these 3 police officers, but yet he was scheduled to be executed. SaveNate.com allowed you to, you could type something personally, or you could just submit the standard pre-written letter that they already had, and you put your name on it, and then you put your zip code and all these things, and then you send it. A very quick process. So shout out to all of my friends and anybody who did that. I don't think you needed to read a whole lot about the case before you should have decided that this probably was not the right thing to do. Strictly just based on the fact of, why would we execute somebody who has not actually killed another human? So apparently it worked. The signatures, the letters, petitions, all the begging and pleading that we did to whoever this shit was going directly to, which I think it was directly to the governor. Apparently, is it the Supreme Court? I think that's who they said it was. Like, they stepped in. Yeah, Supreme Court stepped in and they put a stop to it, which is super dope. And so I guess now we wait to kind of figure out what's going to happen from Mr. Nathaniel Woods. Now, I'm not absolving him of any guilt whatsoever. Whatever his role was within this crime, Nathaniel, come on, my nigga. You got to do better, be better. You should have never been around no shit like this. But I do not think, regardless of how I think anyone should feel about the death penalty, I think it would be weird to me if I heard somebody say, well, even though he didn't kill anybody, he still deserves the death penalty. So I'm not going to say or really get into where I kind of stand on it. I think it's like a case-by-case basis. I'm just going to leave it at that. That's another conversation for another day. But in this situation, I do not believe that this person should be executed because they did not kill any of these officers who were slain in this situation. The guy who killed them is behind bars and serving time for the crime, or has already been executed. I don't know. Steph, can you look that up?
I think he's on death row.
So he's on death row. Okay. So it would have been weird to execute the guy who didn't do anything before the guy who actually committed the crime.
Definitely.
This is one of those obvious situations where we have to start to look at some of these old ass laws and adjust them. It doesn't seem right to me that in 100 years, we've had all of these changes, but yet we have laws on paper and on books that haven't changed since the 1800s, and we still try to prosecute people while using these guidelines. That shit is crazy to me. You don't.
Yeah, we definitely need to go back and look at all of those.
Yes, absolutely. We got to make some adjustments, because there's no way you're looking at this situation and being like, well, we have pure facts and evidence, and we have it on good authority that this guy didn't do anything or didn't kill these people, but yet based on the law and based on the charge against him, we have to put him on death row and then we have to execute him. That doesn't even make sense. And to continue to pursue it even after the real killer comes forward, that's weirdo shit to me.
Well, and there were 2 jurors that found him not guilty. And is that the only court system where they would allow the judge to overrule it? Because that's crazy to me. If they don't come to a unanimous,
you know what?
Why was he?
So honestly, Steph, you've lived in the Pacific Northwest your whole life, right?
Yeah.
So when you say to me, there are 2 jurors that found him not guilty, but then he's in a situation where the judge, was able to overrule it, you probably are shocked. But me being from the South and understanding that this is in the state of Alabama, that's why I laughed. I'm not surprised at all. This sounds like some shit that they would want to do. And I'm not even.
No, I get that. I get the correlation between the South and all of that. I just don't understand why it's okay. Like, why higher ups, or you know what I mean? Like,
you know why it's okay?
It's just disgusting.
But you know why it's okay? Because white people allow that shit. The white people in the state of Alabama, they allow these older white men and women who had their families tied to all these things, and their judges and their police officers, their jurors, their politicians, they're all of these things in that state. And when they see people of color, they want them out of their area, their vicinity. It's just one of those places where I don't think hardly any of those people really believe they should be sharing the same kind of oxygen with Black people.
Disgusting.
And I don't feel bad saying that, because I hear the stories. We've seen the videos. We know what happens to people in that state. Now, during football season, the white people in Alabama, they love niggas at that time, because if they play for Alabama or they play for Auburn, they're catching passes, they're scoring touchdowns, and they're making plays and da 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 da. They love them at that time. Love them. But let one of these niggas make a mistake, and please don't let them already have priors. Because if they already have priors, when you hear people say we are going to punish to the fullest extent of the law, this is a state that really will allow people who haven't committed the crimes that they've been charged for, and they will still put them on death row and try to kill them. I firmly believe, I do not think that this would happen if this was a white person.
No, most definitely. And that's what's so, this is what I mean by this show is going to make me angry, because it's disgusting and it's horrible, and I just don't understand. I just don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I don't get how there can be evidence and it's obvious that Buddy didn't kill these people. And I can see if maybe
I think the whole thing, the whole from what I read was the prosecutor said, well, he said to the officer, take your badge off and I'm gonna fuck you up. Okay, a fight.
So they're trying to get him because he was trying to fight the cop?
So now you're gonna execute him because of something he didn't even do. And I'm sorry, like,
yo,
what?
I will tell you, this is a lesson that I learned as a young teenager. And I will say this, I was fully prepared to have my ass whooped. I did not care, because if I feel it's necessary, I'll challenge anybody to a scrap. But I've challenged a few cops to a one-on-one fade in my day.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not going to say that they won't take off the badge because they're scared. I think obviously at certain points they probably looked at me like this is just a stupid kid, waste of our time, or they all knew that they could kick the shit out of me. I don't know what it was. But I will say that there was one occasion And I told this story on this show before. And because of the situation that I had been in, there was another time where I was getting hassled. Me and my friends are literally at the rec center playing basketball. These guys get in a fight in the gym. Me and my friend, who are two people who are well known in our city for causing problems. This is the one time that we do not engage in fisticuffs. We walk out. And my brother David can confirm this. We walk out. He gets in his car. I get in mine. At the time, this parking lot used to have, it just had two little entryways. So you could go down either aisle. So me and him, we go to leave, and this cop comes flying right at us, stops us, turns on the lights, all of that shit. The people who get in the fight, they get in the car and they drive out of there. So me, I'm thinking, yo, my man, you stopped the wrong people. And I'm like, I get out and I'm like, yo, why you stopping us? We're not a part of this. I go to get out, buddy pulled his gun on me. So already, white cop, black kid. First thing he does, he pulls the gun. And at that point, he kind of made me mad because when I'm yelling at him, he's yelling at me and he's telling me to get back in the car. And I'm like, yo, bro, you're stupid. You're letting them go. And then he said something else. So I was like, yo, put the gun down, take your belt off, fat boy, and let's run it. And then he tried to turn that into like where he was trying to find a way to use the training that he's been given in regards to the laws and the system and how that works. And he was trying to explain to me in some weird way about how the fact that I challenged him to a fight, that he could do all of these things to me. And then thinking about what you said, it just reminded me of that, because it's always funny to me that these cops always want to act like tough guys. But then when a civilian is like, yo, let's run it, then all of a sudden you see that shit pop up on court documents. And then they want to try to like use that as a way to add extra, trump up charges on people. But my thing is like this. If I challenge a cop to a fight and I'm somebody that has never had the only training I've ever had is just being in multiple fights over the course of time. So just experience, but no real hand-to-hand combat training. You as a cop, you've been through that training. If I challenge you to a fight, and even if nothing happens, why are you putting that on the report to then try to put that as a charge on me? That was like some man-to-man type of shit. And if you don't take it, that's fine. You can still handcuff me, take me to jail, do whatever it is you was going to do before. But if somebody challenges you to a fight and nothing happens, why are you trying to add that on to compound their problems? That shit is crazy. Yeah. But that's the type of shit that they try to do to black people, I think. And I would say in my situation, in my story, my friend David is white. I think they would have did the same thing to him. The only difference is if the cop probably would have came close to David, David probably really would have kicked the shit out of him. That would not have been much of a fight. And then I probably would have been just standing there like, yo, my man, like, now what do we do? But lucky for the cop, my man David is smart, and he was, he had self-control. And like I said, we were actually trying to grow the fuck up at this point, which is why we didn't get involved in that fight that happened in the gym. We let that shit go because we didn't care about that shit no more. And then, of course, the cop comes out and he's trying to challenge everybody's manhood and shit. But like I said, they never, ever want to take off the damn gun and badge. But I have seen videos where some of these cops actually will like try to run it with you, which I think is pretty funny. Because the last thing I want to do is try to challenge some big ass cop and then him actually take off the belt. And I'll be like, oh, fuck. Now I got to fight him? Like shit, I wasn't.
I had a situation in Tacoma, and my ex had gotten pulled over. I was following behind, and I pulled over, and we were at a gas station, and I was just asking the officer of the state patrol, and I was just asking them what they pulled him over for, because they weren't like saying why they pulled him over.
Yeah.
And they just kept yelling at me to get away. And so I made sure to like keep my distance and not get too close. And I just said, well, why did you pull him over? And then they said something about possible DUI. And so then I said, okay, well, can I take the car? so that doesn't get impounded. Like, let me move the car over and we'll take care of it. So you don't have to have it towed or whatever.
Yeah, and usually 10 out of 10 times they'll let you do that too.
Yeah, so he kept telling me, to go away. So I said, but sir, I'm just asking a question. Like, I'm not, doing anything wrong. I'm just asking you a question.
Yeah.
And so as I turn around to walk away, he comes up behind me and pushes me and said, I told you to fucking walk away. And I turned around and I was like, and he was small, like he was like short little guy. And I turned around and I was like, don't put your hands on me. I was like, I know my rights. And then at that minute, all these Tacoma police officers pull in, arrest me, arrest his friend. We're in the car. I remember they took me to booking, and the state patrol was in there and like waved to me with like a little smirk behind the glass.
Oh, of course, because he's a sucker.
And then my smart ass mouth, I was like, I'll be out in 3 hours. You got me fucked up.
Yo, I'm dead.
And the charges that ended up getting dropped, they tried to charge me. He tried to write in police report that I had alcohol in my breath. I was not drinking that night. And then they wrote that I had, it literally said in the report, I should see if I can find it, that they could tell I was talking on my phone because my lip gloss was illuminated by the light of my phone, and that I had Hollywood glamour style or something like that.
Yo, like, cops just be lying, bro.
Wearing like a baby fat shirt. Like,
cops be lying about everything, bro.
I'm like, what?
They gotta do whatever they can to get these fucking charges to stick.
Huh?
I said they gotta do whatever they can to get these charges to stick. Now look, man, I'm not disrespecting every cop. I'm not saying they're all like that, but even if you're a cop and you watch this, you know you can't get offended because you know that the people that wear that same badge that you do all the shit that we're talking about. This shit ain't made up, fam. We see it on tape every fucking week. Every week. It's not made up. That's one thing I'm so tired of in 2020 is people still getting mad at the fact that people like me and even people like you, Steph, will say that cops ain't shit and look at the shit that they do. And then people are like, oh, blue lives matter. How dare you say that about the people that protect your streets? I'm like, come on, man.
I've been in where I needed protection, I was not protected. Even in the past, I've had domestic violence issues. I was never protected. I called the police every time there was a violation. I got knocked out at a gas station, called the police, and they told me, that's not my jurisdiction. You got to call this police department. I call that police department. They say, that's not my jurisdiction. We can't write a report. Then I finally go to, there's this place in Tacoma for domestically abused women. And a detective came there, wrote a report. Then it goes to the prosecutor. The prosecutor says, you delayed reporting. We're not pressing charges. And it's like, and then the police officer told me 90% of the time women go back to their abuser. And it's like, well, I'm every single time this person violates, I'm calling you. I'm showing you, well, it's your word against theirs, so you need to take a picture. I'm like, you mean to tell me that this person who once tried to kill me, I have to stand there and take a picture of them to prove to you that they're violating a protection order. Like, you can't just come here.
Nah, and that's the crazy thing is like, and I've seen that even like when you watch Cops or like Live PD, when they get calls about domestics and stuff like that, you see them where they try to like tell the people that stuff. But my thing is this, even if the cop is going to tell you that, the least that he or she could do in that situation is call those people for you. Some of this shit is still customer service, bro. It's not going to hurt them to actually dial the number and be like, hey, this is out of my jurisdiction, but we have a situation and I would like for you to assist this young lady or whoever is in need at the time, and then they can connect you and then walk away. What does that hurt?
Call that a courtesy report. They could have even taken a courtesy report, taken the report, faxed it over to the right department or scan it or whatever they do, and they take it from there. But they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's a damn shame. It's
so
crazy.
People say, oh, there's good. I'm sure there are good cops. I'm not saying there aren't, but I haven't run into them.
Oh yeah.
I'm either being harassed about something. I got pulled over because I had a baseball cap in my back window at one time. And then when I asked why I was being pulled over, they told me, well, you're in a high
gang, yeah, gang area. That's what they always say, like drugs, gang, whatever.
Or commit crimes. How would I know that? I'm just going to my friend's house.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what they be doing. And I get it, because even in that moment, maybe they are in some way or another, they're protecting the people by stopping people and preventing potential crimes from happening. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if that, like, y'all are that bored where you're just like, yo, I spy a hat, let's pull her over, let's pull him over. That's some crazy shit, bro.
Would that make you feel better if I put the hat on?
Wow. Anyway, yeah, but anyway, our point is cops are wild. And that brings us to our next story. So we got a guy who's an ex-Bellevue, Washington cop, and he was involved in 2 deadly shootings out here. I think it was out here. That's basically what they're saying. And now he's also accused. Yeah, he was involved in 2 shootings out here. And now, because he relocated to Virginia, now he's accused of a shooting out there, or murder, right?
Yeah, murder.
Yeah, accused of murder. So like I said, and we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about him. I wanted to let this story bring my last point home. Stop pretending like we are the assholes for pointing out the fact that these police officers make these mistakes and walk away from them unscathed sometimes. I can understand if you are a relative, friend, or even an officer and you want to represent for your fellow man who's out there protecting and serving in the line of duty every day. I get it. The job has crazy risk, and we appreciate y'all for that shit. But the type of stuff that's been happening that you see videotaped and put on the internet and all that stuff, that's the type of shit we don't appreciate. And we don't appreciate the fact that you guys try to dismiss it by pretending like we're taking shots at people who aren't doing these things. And so you're looking at it as like, oh, you guys just hate police and you're disrespecting every cop. Come on, man. You know if you do the stuff that you see on those videos or not. You know if you're that type of police officer. You know if your friend or cousin or uncle or dad, you know if they're that type of police officer. And if you allow the shit to happen, then you're just as guilty as they are. If you continue to give people like myself and other people who want to speak out against the crimes that cops commit against civilians, if you were speaking out against us and always taking it back to, well, what about all lives and blue lives this, and you're not going to be saying that when you need someone to come protect you, fam. I'll say for me, it's 50-50. Half my experience is good and half of them motherfuckers bad. And the ones that are bad are really bad. Not bad like some of these people who result in having their lives taken, but bad enough to where it's left a taste in my mouth to where even now at age 33, I do not feel bad having a show where I talk about them constantly to try to raise awareness for the fact that some of these people are not cut out and equipped to do this job. If all of you guys were great, then we would never have anything bad to say, but you obviously are not. So stop being so offended and pretending like the shit doesn't exist, because it does. All right, next story. Well, shit, the next story is about cops, man. We just seen a video today where now the NYPD is conducting an internal review after a viral video shows a young man being swarmed. And when I tell you swarmed, this is a black kid being held against his will by an off-duty cop who summons all of his friends, and you see them running from all different directions, and then all of a sudden you see 8, 9, maybe even 10 guys jumping on one small kid, and you can just hear him screaming because he's afraid for his life, afraid that he's going to end up being killed, and he seems like he's probably hurt. You can see cops punching, kicking, stomping, grabbing his leg. You mean to tell me y'all need 10 people to take down one guy? One guy who's not resisting. And even in the video, he has his fucking hands up. Y'all need all those people for that shit? We told you that the show was going to be kind of lit. Let me cool out. Steph, what's the ETA with James? Oh, Steph's putting her kids to sleep. I'm in here starting to sweat, man. I'm getting hot because we're in here turning up over this police stuff, man. But it's a big fucking deal, especially as we continue the new age that we are in, where we celebrate Black history every single day of every year until the end of time. We are no longer just celebrating publicly during the month of February. We're not going to allow people to put us in that stupid ass box. These people were innovators. They created music. They built businesses. They helped a lot of these old ass white people create the things that they created in order for us to lead better lives. Why are we only celebrating them during one fucking month? It's ridiculous. So, like I said, we are in the new age. It's 2020. We celebrate Black proudly and publicly every day until the end of time. Heart that shit. Like that shit. Share that shit. Subscribe to that shit. All of it. And it doesn't mean we're not celebrating anybody else. It just means that we are not going to put ourselves second. Everybody can be appreciated 24 hours a day if we really want to. So we don't need to play second fiddle. All right. Next story is pretty funny. Y'all remember when we had people that were going around making viral videos where they're like, I mean, this one specifically, the guy licked a tub of ice cream like at the store. So apparently, I guess Buddy did the video, right? So he licks the tub of ice cream. And then what they don't show in the video is that he went and he paid for it. He bought it. Excuse me. What we didn't see until after was that Buddy was arrested and he had to go to court. Now he has to serve 30 days in jail for licking unpaid for ice cream, pretty much, and being caught. I mean, I don't know, was he caught? He just was on a video, I guess. But yeah, now he has to do time behind that. And I know when Steph and I were talking about this earlier, she had asked me, or maybe it wasn't her, maybe somebody else. When I posted it, they were like, well, didn't some girl do this? And I remember seeing a video where some white girl licked a tub of ice cream. We hadn't heard if anything happened to her, if there were any consequences, but it made me think about all these videos and the time where we're in where people do pranks. And I know we were talking about on our show like a couple weeks ago about how we would feel if people were doing pranks to us. I ain't gonna lie to you, fam. The ice cream thing, when you see the initial video, I remember posting it and people, myself included, we were all like, yo, this guy's disgusting and how dare he needed his ass whooped and blah, blah, blah. But then I really thought about it and I was like, it's really no different from the times when I go to the grocery store and if I know I'm going to be in there for mad long, and I only do this because I've seen other people do it, including people in my family, but you might grab a drink and then drink it while you're in the store and pay for it. Most stores don't ever say a fucking thing to you. They don't care as long as it's paid for. What you do with it when you pay for it, that's your problem. Sometimes even before, it's kind of on the old honor system. But I'm sure after a certain amount of time when people were doing this for mad long, they probably had to crack down because people probably weren't paying for the stuff that they were sampling. So I do get it, but it's weird to me that a store manager would want to press charges on a guy, or even the store or whoever it is who proceeded to press the charges on him. It's weird to me that they would do that, knowing that he did it just for a video and that he ended up paying for it. If he bought the ice cream, why do you care that he tried to make a video just to get himself famous for a little bit? So shout out to my man or whatever his name is, but niggas about to do jail time behind that shit. So kids, if you're listening, which you should not be because this show is not for children, if you're going to make prank videos, you probably should not do them at stores where it's likely that you will get in any type of big time trouble. If you want to lick ice cream that's still in the freezer aisle, do that shit like at Walmart where they don't care about their products because they're already making $1 billion a day. Don't do that at grocery outlet where they need every penny they can possibly make. Do that shit at Walmart. And don't do that shit to me. All right. Again, we continue with the craziness of tonight's show. This was a wild story. And ladies, specifically talking to you, and I don't know how you will be able to do this, but I want to recommend that if you, as a woman, spend a significant time around a man who has told you that he is gay, make sure you get all your confirmations, because apparently there are people who are out here pretending to be gay so they can spend intimate time with women, and then they try to take advantage of them. I'm sure that you guys are probably looking at me watching this being like, yo, my man, this ain't nothing new. I know that women already know that guys do this. I'm not going to pretend like I haven't heard of things like this happening, but to know that it actually has really happened and to see the guy's face, it made me sick to my stomach to know that there's a guy that's out here, or was, he has been arrested, but to know that he was out here pretending to be gay, and this was in Atlanta, so he could lure women to his home and then sexually assault them. I'm not using the R word, but the R word was used on the video. And I know that some people look at them as different things because I think there's different degrees and all that type of stuff. I personally hate saying the R word, so I'm saying sexually assault to kind of make it a little bit less, you know what, we say the F word and mother F this and that. So he was luring girls to his home so he could rape them because he's a fucking scumbag. A fat, gross, ugly nigga who probably still lived in his mother's basement. He was an awful human. Like I said, when I saw his picture and I read that headline, it was hard for me to read the story. And I'm going to tell you why I didn't, because I'm not a fan of the R word stuff. Even when I see that shit on movies, I don't understand why Hollywood has to put that in movies, even if it's to help us to get a better understanding of what life was like in a specific time or a specific moment in a character's life. I don't understand why we even need to know that that shit happened. I hate it. It disgusts me. And so knowing that there was a guy who was doing this and using, pretending to be a homosexual man in an effort to gain favor with specific women so he could go, hey girl, come to my house and hang out with me and let's shop and let's do this and get lunch and da 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 da. And you manipulate her into thinking that you're some cool guy who's just her gay best friend and that you can help her with relationship problems and this and that and all these things. And then come to find out you're really doing all of that so you can bring her back to your home and then assault her. Why even invest the time in getting to know her just to have that opportunity? Like, if you're going to invest that time, make that shit real. Just be her friend, my nigga. Shit. You don't have to have every single girl you look at, fellas, young fellas, old fellas. If you're listening to this shit, or you watch it, or you have daughters, sisters, mothers, all this shit, bro. Just because you see her and she looks attractive does not mean you have to have her. It's okay to look and not touch. You're going to be all right. You don't have to fulfill every single sexual desire that you have in that moment. It's okay to keep your dick in your pants from time to time. And going to these type of lengths to try to sleep with girls, I'm sorry, but in my opinion, that is hella pathetic. Steph, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Steph, I'm talking about the fat nigga in Atlanta that was pretending to be gay so he could rape females. Oh, I hate that word. God, I hate that word. Ugh. Yeah, that shit is awful. It's absolutely awful. Do you have any further comments on that? I want to talk about one more story and then we're going to go to a break, but I want to give you an opportunity to comment on that if you'd like.
Other than the fact it's disgusting and horrible that there's people out here doing that, especially pretending to be homosexual and trying to befriend women and then get them, rape is horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible in any capacity, but I think it's extra horrible that you would prey on someone's emotions in order to get. Man, I guess in reality, when you think about it, in most cases, that's how they're gaining these opportunities when they're trying to do this stuff anyway, is by manipulating the person, gaining their favor, and then trying to, execute whatever plan that they already had prepared for them. It's the same way, like when I go through these trainings about, child abuse and things like that, where they call it grooming, because that's what people do. They come to after school programs and they come to all these places so they can groom kids, befriend them, get them to think that they're safe, and then take advantage of them. It's no different when it comes to adults, because even though adults are smart and they have their shit together, maybe they drive a car and they have a job and they pay bills and all that, emotion is still emotion, and people are still going to be like, oh shit, well, this person seems really nice and maybe they can fill a void that I have emotionally. Yes, I'm going to let them in. I'm going to let them into my space, into my bubble, and into my heart, and into my mind, into my soul. And then bam, before you know it, you're, freaking on a Law and Order episode. And that's all because people are garbage. And that's why I say, like, you gotta be careful of who you're letting into your life. Especially, I know people who just like, they meet people, shit, every couple of weeks they're talking to a new dude or a new girl or whatever the case may be. Like, you got to be careful, because not all these people have your best intentions at heart, and sometimes it's just a game to get you in a state of comfortability. That way they can take advantage of you. They want you to be comfortable. Yeah, I want you to think I'm the greatest nigga of all time, and then you're gonna let me in, and then I'm gonna take advantage. That's exactly how these scumbags think.
Yeah, and I unfortunately have personal experience with it. So what you're saying is completely factual, and it's awful. I had a babysitter who was a neighbor, and I was 5, and I was in ballet, and I remember, and I didn't know because I was a little kid, and he would make me do things, and my uncle came home one day and beat the crap out of him. Because he walked in and saw what was going on.
Hopefully that dude's disabled now. That's what I'm hoping.
I don't know. Really, his parents made excuses for it, and
that's typical, because who really wants to believe that their child is a sexual predator? No one wants to believe that.
Right. So
you think Brock Turner's dad thinks that his son is actually a sexual predator? Nah. Even with the proof.
No.
Go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No. That's okay. I'm just saying you're spot on, and it's disgusting that and that's honestly why now I don't
excuse me.
I don't like to get close to people. I don't it's like it's hard.
I believe it. Those experiences do not sound like they're fun to go through, nor would they be fun to try to overcome. So shout out to anybody that has been in those types of situations and has persevered and overcome. Shout out to you, Steph. That's a big deal. And thank you for being, vulnerable enough to want to share your story on the air and on the YouTube video. That's much appreciated. So sorry you had to go through that. If we can find, buddy, we can always, let me stop, bro. We on TV. I'm about to say, cause you know how I know some people. We can make some moves. That's not a threat on his life. It's a promise. Anyway, so I'm thinking that because it's 7:50, we was gonna take a break, but we still have a lot to get through. They might not hear music for the rest of the night. So let's go back to Los Angeles, where the sheriff, am I getting this right, Steph? He wants to, or he ordered that the photos of the crash site where Kobe's helicopter crashed be deleted. And the quote from him is that was my number one priority, and was to make sure that these photos no longer exist. I wish that he would have said his number one priority was to make sure that the officers working beneath him who had these photos and who were sharing them, I wish that he would have said that those people were fired.
Right.
That would have been better. I can appreciate to some degree, and I'm sure Vanessa can appreciate that you're doing everything you can to make sure the photos get deleted. But I think it would have been better if you were like, you obviously know they have to be violating protocol by sharing that information anyway. I'm sure if you're not sharing info with people who are working the case, you're probably in violation of some sort of protocol. And if that is the case, then they should have been reprimanded, suspended, and or fired.
I'm going to look up and see if they said anything about that in there. I didn't see anything, but...
Yeah, I'm wondering, honestly.
Because I don't understand how they couldn't be. I mean, I know just at my job, if I were to share any information... You'd be
fired. Yeah, so exactly.
Why would they have, a special...
Yeah. And you're not talking about just like information. It's not somebody's name. You're literally sharing photos of a site where a tragic, horrific accident took place. You're sharing photos with your friends and whoever to try to like be like, oh, look what I know and look what you don't know. But now you know because I told you. That's why people do shit like that, because they want to be the ones to break the news to people. They don't want to feel like they're the last to find out something. I mean, who doesn't love being first, right? So of course those people took those photos and shared them as if they were their own little private selfies or some shit. Pathetic. Again, I don't mind what the sheriff said, but I really wish that he would have just came out and said that even if they weren't fired, because maybe it's not a fireable offense, at least a suspension, because they should know better. Have you shared other photos from other accident sites? Because now I would be interested to know if these cops have done that before. Because think about the privacy, not only for Kobe and his family and the other families on that helicopter, but what about people from past cases? Has this officer who was doing this, has he been doing this to other people? You know?
Right.
Who knows?
So all it says that they identified the deputies involved. They came to the station on their own, admitted they had taken them, and they had deleted them. And we're content that those involved did that. So you didn't even validate that they deleted them? Like, oh, hey, my bad, I deleted them. You didn't, that's it.
Wow, so they're content with taking the word of these officers that they deleted them.
Oh my God.
I mean, I don't know, man, because I don't know these people. Maybe they are trustworthy people who just made a mistake. It happens. People do make mistakes. We get that, and everybody deserves second chances. They showed up on their own. That's something that probably can be appreciated. But like, why do that shit to begin with? If you trusted these people that much, you should have known that you were trusting people who wouldn't do shit like this to begin with.
Exactly. And I don't see what the need would be to share these photos.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
What are you, like 7-year-old kid? Hey, want to see a dead body? I don't know. I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to see Kobe Bryant in whatever state he was in after that helicopter crash. I don't want to see that. No one wants to see that. You know, I saw my first dead body when I was 9 years old, 10 years old.
Oh my gosh, that's traumatizing.
I mean, you really couldn't tell. But I mean, you can see the blood. You can see that the person was dead. But like when you're that young, it just looks like they're sleeping and maybe like they spilled something on themselves. But like to then realize that like when we were like, hey, and they weren't waking up, and then we all took.
You tried to wake them up?
We all took off running. Yeah, there's a dead homeless guy. It's crazy. No, yeah, this was in Texas, Round Rock, Texas. Man, it's crazy shit.
Gosh, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Especially for just a child. Wow.
And like I said, like I'm not. A lot, I mean, but I think about the things that I've been through. I don't think they compare to some of the things that people who I personally know have been through. You know, I mean, you think about if you would have grown up in New York City. Think about something like that, or growing up like in Compton. Like they see dead bodies every week, twice on Sundays, from the time that they're able to have vision up until the time that they pass away, it feels like. I mean, you think about, so I mean, and I know, and I didn't say that in any disrespectful manner, because I personally, I don't believe that it's as bad as it's portrayed. I think there obviously is crime, there's gang violence, there's all these things, but I think that there probably are a lot of people that live and lead happy lives, even under those circumstances, because they choose to. It doesn't mean that they see less. I'm sure they still see the stuff. You still hear about the shootings. You still hear about drive-bys. You still see people's names in the newspaper. But I think like if you're able to put yourself in that mindset where, it's not to say that this stuff isn't a big deal, but just understanding that maybe it's just a part of life. Maybe, you see some of these people that have an easier time getting through and they're able to manage living a life even though they see those things. Like, I don't know. I think issues with my dad impact me way more than the actual violence that I've seen from outsiders of my family, and being physically a part of violence, that shit makes me laugh more than anything. But I think of like the issues that I have with like my father, things that I've been through with my mom. That stuff puts me in a darker, deeper place than any of the violence that I've ever seen. Which that's crazy to think of. And so you think of, and I've only seen that in the smallest way. But imagine if I would have seen that shit very often. Like growing up in those places that I named. You know what I'm saying? Like imagine seeing that shit. Being in Miami. Think about if you grew up where like AB and kids like that grew up, like the Belle Glade area, and like, where it's crazy crime in South Florida. Imagine, like, I didn't grow up in no crazy hood like that. I lived half my life in bitch ass Gulf Breeze, Florida, which is just all white people and rednecks who think that they're styling because they got a little bit of money. And then I grew up in Austin, Texas, where we lived in the hood, and there's a lot of Latinos. There's a lot of gang violence. We had gangs at our middle school. So I've lived both lives. I've been the suburban kid, and I tried to be a gangster when I was young, and the older kids wouldn't let me do it because I didn't take the shit seriously. They knew I was a clown, so they weren't gonna let me fuck around and get everybody killed for being stupid. So I was my gang initiation. They were actually like, you know what, man. You don't even worry about it, bro. We already know we're not gonna pick you. they didn't want me, and I appreciate that. Y'all saved me a life of trouble for that.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't go down that path either.
Yeah. No, I wasn't cut out for it. I goof around too much. I mean, I'm ready when it gets real, but like, I gotta see the violence start before I get in that mode. I'm joking up until the very second that the punch is thrown. Then I'm like, oh shit, y'all are for real? All right, turn up,
Right?
But you can't do that in gang life. You gotta be ready at all times. And I'm just built more for this type of life,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy to see those things. So like, my heart goes out to the people that grow up really tough, really hard. It's not to, diminish anything that me and my sister or even my mother had to endure. Life was not easy for us by any means. And shout out to my cousins. I'm sure they didn't have the easiest life either. But I don't know, man. I just know people that have had it way worse. So I'm thankful to not have had to deal with some of the stuff that I know other kids had to deal with.
That's a good way to look at it.
Gosh, too. All right, so Harvey Weinstein is going to Rikers Island. I like that. I like that he has to go.
Too. I wish I could be like a fly on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. I like that he's having to go to like one of the hardest prisons. I don't want to see him go to like some, easy. It's none of it's easy. So let me not say that. I apologize for that because I don't want to say things that try to diminish, things like jail is not easy for anybody. So let's not pretend that it is. But when you see a lot of these big time celebrities get busted for crimes, they typically go to easy jail, which is in like a 2-bedroom apartment, with full-time security. Yeah, it's like a camp. Like they don't actually go to like real prison. Harvey Weinstein is going to real prison. And that little fucking act that he put on where he was, doing the Walker shit. You know what, Harvey? I'm disappointed in you. The amount of time you spent in Hollywood, I figured your acting skills would have been better. I was very disappointed in him for that because he wasn't selling me on his performance when he was walking with the Walker. Like, fam, get out of here. So now you get to walk that around Rikers freaking Island. Steph, what do we?
But I guarantee that they're gonna put him in solitary. Like he's gonna be.
Yeah, he probably has to.
Like on his own, 23 hours a day.
He's gonna have to be because if you put him in Gen Pop, I think he would be dead in a week.
I wouldn't even give it that long.
You don't think he could last? I think he could last a week because somebody would protect him. he would find a way to have his lawyers pay somebody to protect him.
Put money on their butt.
Exactly. Putting money somewhere. But I also feel like if the money runs out or maybe the accounts freeze and he can't pay up immediately, then he goes into debt with somebody and it's a debt that he can't pay. He's going to hope that whatever ailments that he has, he's going to hope that that shit kills him before the people in jail do. Because for what he's been sentenced for, bro, you're twice on Sundays. I assure you that. Twice on Sundays, fam. You better be ready. And those boys in there are hungry. They are hungry. So yeah, you're gonna get stretched out real good. And he had that shit coming. So Harvey Weinstein, enjoy Rikers Island, fella. All right, this next topic. Oh my gosh. Let me get another cough drop real quick so we can get into this. So we're gonna dive into. Steph, did you read that article that I posted about the voluntourism?
What is this about? So the lady, I'm sorry, I forget her name. I didn't put it in this.
Who? Renee Bach?
That performed surgeries based off of YouTube videos that she watched.
Renee Bach. I hope.
Like what?
Is
that her in that photo?
I think it is. I don't know if it is in that. And if it is in that photo, that's sad. But I'm going to say this. Renee Bach. And anyone who knows anything about her, and shout out to my homegirl Sasha Berry for posting that article. I'm glad that I read it. Yeah. This was early in the morning. I read this article. And we're going to call it what it is. They're referring to it as voluntourism. And they're saying that basically white folks go over to certain regions across the world and they volunteer and they help children. And they're doing it. I don't know. I'm telling you what I took from the article. It seems like the article is saying that they're doing it not necessarily for the benefit of these kids in these impoverished areas, but more so that way they can continue to, make sure that we all know that they're saviors, white saviors. Whatever.
Yeah, they're not genuine. It's not genuine intent. They want everybody to look at them like they're just amazing people and they're these saviors. And,
But before we get into where it's going to sound like I'm trashing white people, I do want to say that there are black people that I know that do this shit too. And honestly, sometimes they're professional athletes. That's another topic for another day. But I think some of those guys go to those events and they go visit those hospitals and they put it all on tape in an effort to make themselves seem like a savior when they're really a fucking scumbag. So Renee Bach is a young white woman who decided she wanted to take her talents overseas. And by talents, I mean she wanted to take the skills she learned from YouTube videos on how to perform surgeries, and she wanted to use young black kids as guinea pigs. And I'm calling it that because they said the number was over like 100.
Like over 150.
150 unsuccessful surgeries.
So heartbreaking.
Now you have to understand that unfortunately, some of these people, when you go to these areas, they see the smile on this white person's face. They see the supplies that maybe they brought. They see the love that they show to their children. And unfortunately, they've been manipulated into thinking that these people give a fuck about them. And a lot of times they don't. There were other people's names on that article too. It was a couple guys who there was one guy who went over to these places, some young white guy. I think he was actually prosecuted too, because he was going over there and he ended up molesting a whole bunch of kids ages 4 up all the way up to 15. You mean to tell me they have some young white American boy who's going over there claiming that he's trying to get people to join in Christianity and learn the word of the Lord. Yeah, he's pretending to be a fucking missionary, and he really went over there and was just molesting young black children. And I'm saying that because they're all or young African children. Let me refer to them properly because they deserve that respect. He's going over to these impoverished areas and he's molesting young African children.
Children who probably are looking at them like these are genuine people who want to come and help them, and like it's safe, and it's just so. Oh my God! They're looking. It's so disgusting.
Yeah, they're looking at these people as if these people are here to help us, to give us medication, to provide us with food, to bring us resources, because this is what we hear that Americans do. Americans claim to help, and they do help, but they only help when they know that if they can help you, they can also help themselves. So I see what Renee did. Renee wanted to try to perform surgeries without actually having to go to fucking medical school. What better way to do that than to fly overseas where no one's really going to check your credentials? They're not really going to care. As long as you look confident and you walk with your chest all out and you smile and you look like you care a little bit, they're going to let you do it anyway. Because these people are desperate for hope. They're desperate to have these people come over and help their kids. They're desperate for that medication. They're desperate for that water. They're desperate for that food. They're desperate for all of these things. So when they see these people coming, like Renee's scumbaggy ass, when they see...
Well, I think the article said she's free. Like, she's walking free.
Oh, yeah, of course she's walking free. Because why are they...
How?
But Steph, you know how though, because why are we going to prosecute this poor little white girl? She didn't know any better. She was just influenced by what she saw on the internet. Isn't that what they always do for these little white kids?
Oh my gosh. No, I know how, right? Like I know how, but I'm just saying, like, is this really like, well, it is.
Renee, I want Renee to go back over there and I want her to be trampled to death by a herd of elephants. And
at the end of the day,
I want the lions to come afterwards and use her body as a fucking toothpick.
Right? And at the end of the day, like, I don't know. I just feel like these type of things are continuing to happen, right? And it's like, oh, we talk about it, and it's like, oh, it's heartbreaking, it's sad. But until white people stand up and hold other white people accountable, like, it's just going to continue.
Preach up.
And I don't understand why. Like, it's simple, right? It's common sense.
Yeah.
Hold people accountable.
There you go. It's not hard. Don't allow them to go over there and exploit these people in impoverished areas. Shit, even in our own country, we literally watch videos on a daily basis where we allow people to exploit the homeless people that walk in our cities. We literally watch it at home. We watch it on tape when they do it overseas. We watch it here. We just allow this shit to happen. It's pathetic.
Yeah.
All we got to do is make some fucking changes, but people don't want to change. And the fact that nothing was going to happen to this young scumbag, Renee, can we Google her and see what Renee's middle name is? I want to call her by her full name. One good time. God, what if her middle name is Stephanie? I mean, I don't know.
Oh, my God.
What is it? Is it? Oh.
No. What's her last name? Is it
Bach? I'm assuming it's Bach.
Okay.
I'm going to call her Batch. Oh, just a real quick, I don't know if anyone really cares, but I was a little bit hyped for this, and I think I already saw him take a fall, but Steph Curry came back tonight. Within the first few minutes of the game, he already fell on his face because somebody was being a little bit too active, almost got him hurt again. Steph, y'all have won 14 games, my nigga. It's not worth it. Just come back next year. When Clay comes back, you'll have Draymond Bay, have all these people. You don't have to play now. You don't have anything to prove to us. You got back-to-back MVPs and a couple of rings. What is playing now for your 14 and 67 lost team? What is that doing for you? It's nothing. Anyway, Steph, what's our next story?
Oh, sorry, I was looking up Renee.
Oh, yeah, let's look up her. Let's finish up with Renee. I'm not done with her yet.
I will find it. It just says that she's back in Bedford County, Virginia right now. And I'm reading
Bedford County, Virginia. That's where Renee Bach lives. Yo, shout out to all my Virginia friends. If y'all know this girl, Renee, I want you to say something to her. Nothing over the top, nothing crazy. Tell her to watch our show and say, hey, you were featured on our radio show. You should check it out. And then remind her that I called her a scumbag on multiple occasions. And then I also said that I wanted her to get trampled by a herd of elephants and then have lions come through and use her body as a toothpick. Yeah, remind her of that. Shout out to all my people in the VA.
Oh my gosh,
All right, well, while we wait on that, I was going to talk about Jack Brewer. But one thing I feel like I don't ever want to do is I don't know if I want to give people shine when they are Black people who are trying to convince other Black people that Donald Trump is a good dude. And I know that sounds crazy because we said that we wanted to talk about and talk to everybody. And I know when you talk to Jack Brewer, who's a former NFL player, claims to be an activist, claims to be somebody who is a major supporter of all of his people. And if you, like I said, I'm not dismissing any of his accomplishments. And Jack, if you ever see this, my man, I'm not dismissing any of your accomplishments up to this point. But I think you are a cornball for trying to convince other minorities that we need to pick Donald Trump for anything. It's pathetic. You might have almost had a chance if you were like, yo, Mike Bloomberg ain't that bad, dog. I would have been like, man, I mean, maybe the commercials look okay, but like Trump, come on, bro. You were trying to convince us that the person who openly shows us on a daily basis that he is not equipped to do the job that he was hired for, also has the maturity of like a 9-year-old, can't seem to keep his thumbs off Twitter every time he gets upset. You're trying to tell us that person is the person who's going to help take Black people into the next century and help us thrive in life. My nigga, you're insane. Honestly, Jack Brewer, former NFL player, maybe one too many hits to the dome. I don't know. Maybe he has CTE. If we're going to say Antonio Brown has CTE and he's crazy, I want to say that any Black person that comes to me that tries to tell me that Trump is good, I'm going to immediately ask them, have you ever played football in your life? And if so, have you been checked for CTE? Because that, to me, is crazier than all the shit that AB's doing. Stop trying to convince me and other Black people that Trump is a good dude. You sound foolish. I'm not going to call you a coon because I kind of hate that shit. I feel bad. You know, anytime I've ever called a Black person a coon, I kind of hate that because I want to do my best not to degrade other Black people, not to degrade anybody unless they're openly fucking things up. They have that shit coming. But shit like this, that's the type of shit that I'm like, I'm not a fan of that because I think Jack knows better and can do better. And bro, if you're really doing all these wonderful things for our people, the last thing you need to be doing is doing all these great things and then trying to convince those same people that your inspiration or somebody that you vouch for and is going to also help take care of them is Donald Trump, because you know that's not true. That is not the case whatsoever. The minute you say that you're vouching for him and representing him, you're alienating so many people. And that's basically based off the fact that Donald hates everybody. So you're clearly choosing hate rhetoric over actually building up other people around you, specifically your own people. Just my opinion, though. I'm just a guy with a show. Steph, what else we got?
Sorry, I was over here trying to find. I'm not finding anything with her middle name.
Well, we can't find Renee's middle name, but either way, Renee, you're a complete waste of life. You are a garbage fucking human. And I hope you struggle to sleep every single night. And I hope that when you go to bed or even when you're putting your clothes on, I hope you can hear those kids screaming, because I'm sure they were screaming when you were putting them through that pain because you didn't know what the fuck you were doing. I hope you can hear that. Next story.
Sorry.
We told y'all it was going to be a lit show. This shit is crazy.
Okay, so Spike Lee.
Yo!
$300,000 a year on Knicks tickets.
Spike Lee. Now I understand. Spike Lee is New York. He is the Knicks at this point. I wish that he just owned the team. Spike, you spent $10 million on Knicks tickets over the course of 30 years. $10 million to continue to watch your team lose week in and week out. And then now Spike is kind of on a boycott because James Dolan, who's the world's worst sports franchise owner, Spike feels like James is targeting him for some reason. I could see that. I think James is targeting anybody who speaks out against him and his family's name. Anytime someone says that the Knicks ownership is garbage, James Dolan wants to try to dead that shit as quick as he possibly can. He doesn't want to hear people speak ill on his name. The only problem is James Dolan, if we're comparing two people who are really bad at their jobs, James Dolan is like the Trump version for the NBA. He doesn't deserve to own the team. He's terrible with the team, making decisions for the team. He's bad at that. He's terrible. Get him out of here. The same way we want Trump out of here we want James Dolan out of here with the Knicks too. And apparently James wants Spike Lee out of Madison Square Garden. Spike has said that he's not coming back for the foreseeable future, I think. But I'm still in awe over the fact that Spike literally spends about $3,000 a game. And I think in the course of the season, it's roughly about $300,000 just on tickets. And then in the course of about 30 years, he spent nearly $10 million on Knicks tickets. You want to know how many championships Spike Lee has been a part of in that amount of time? 0. When you know the last time the Knicks went to the NBA Finals? 1999, the lockout year. And you know who they lost to? The San Antonio Spurs. And the Knicks haven't been good since. They had a couple years where they were okay when they had Carmelo. And after that, they were done. Now they are terrible, and people are complaining. I saw last night that they were kicking fans out of the game because fans were chanting, "Sell the team." You mean to tell me you really had your security kick your fans? People who paid money to watch your team play, you kicked them out of the arena because they were chanting, "Sell the team." He doesn't even have respect for his own fans. These people literally work their asses off, pay hard-earned money to buy tickets to watch terrible basketball that's probably below. I'd rather watch a high school basketball game, if we're just being honest. I would much rather watch high school basketball than watch the Knicks play. And I know
I'm sure that the tickets are way more than normal people can afford.
That's what I'm saying. They're expensive as hell. You got people really paying their hard-earned money, and then you're kicking them out of the fucking game. But like that right there, like it validates everything that Spike Lee has said. It validates everything that Charles Oakley said about him and anybody else who's ever complained about the Knicks organization and the way their ownership team is running it. They all make these complaints. They all say the same things. It's clear and it's obvious. The league needs to step in and they need to do something about it. You know, last night they had their lowest attendance record. And I don't know how many years they said it was. I know for sure it was the lowest of the season, but it's their lowest turnout that they've had all year because people are getting to the point where they're fed up. Can't say that I blame them.
No, not at all.
It's terrible. Terrible. All right.
Are we talking about Shaq with his hairline?
Oh my God. You know, I was watching.
That was Beijing.
I think it was too, because it didn't look like hair.
No, it was like Beijing. What is that? China black. That's the color.
Yeah, he had the. When I saw it up close, man, I was like, "Yo, what the F is that?" And the shit wasn't even put on there all that great.
No.
His hairline, even the fake hairline, looked awful.
They tried to make it look realistic by putting it so far back.
Yo, I was done at that. The one thing I love about Shaq is that he's okay with, you know, making himself look kind of foolish on TV. I respect that.
Yeah.
Because for him, it's all fun and games. Like, they had a bet. It was no big deal for him to do that. Wear it all week, have some laughs, entertain the people. That's what it is, man. I love that Shaq is like that. Shout out to Shaq.
Yeah.
That was hella funny. But that shit looked terrible. I do want to give a shout out to a young high school kid. And this young man's name is Dylan Caldwell. So Dylan, he's a basketball player, and I think he's a pretty good basketball player.
I'm gonna just real quick. I'm gonna loop James in.
Oh, okay. James is about to be on the show. Welcome to the show, James.
Okay, we're connected to James. Hola.
James, what's up?
What's good?
So we're diving into this little story. We're giving a young high school kid a quick shout out. His name's Dylan Caldwell. And Dylan is making an appearance on the show because I saw a video of him where people are bigging him up because he had to basically miss his senior year of high school basketball because of transfer rules. And so because he transferred to a new school, they wouldn't let him play. But all his players and his coaches say that he didn't complain, he didn't pout, he didn't get upset. He just was a part of the team, and you can see him on the videos hyping everybody up, dancing, celebrating, bigging up his teammates. So I wanted to give Dylan a shout out because most kids his age do not have that level of maturity to where they would, you know, take on that role and be in that situation and be okay with not being the star guy or whatever it is that they're used to being. So quick shout out to Dylan Caldwell. Good for him, man. Hopefully wherever he ends up playing college ball, hopefully he's able to go there and shine. I don't know if he's any good or not, but they just, you know, they were propping him up, and I wanted to do the same thing because I thought that was admirable, especially when I used to coach basketball. I know there were all kinds of kids that if you didn't let them play or you didn't let them do something where they could show out in front of people, they'll pout, they'll get upset, they'll threaten to quit. They do all these crazy ass things all because they don't get their way. So you always want to shout out the kids who don't act like assholes when they don't get their way.
That's what's up.
So James, go ahead.
Did you transfer like choice, or was it like parents moving? Or was he trying to like transfer schools and try to like, you know, get it in for another school?
I don't know, but I would assume that he probably transferred to go to a better school to maybe get more shine so he can get some more scholarship offers maybe. I mean, that's usually why they transfer, but I don't know. Maybe Steph can look that up and let us know.
That was cut. You gotta realize, like, you transferred your senior year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And like, when you know you transfer, you know you have to stay.
Yeah. If we're not gonna play,
going back to my old school.
like, yeah, why would I transfer? I'm not gonna go somewhere and not play. That don't make no damn sense. But you know, shout out to him for doing that. Let's see. How do y'all feel about HBCUs?
I feel that situation now because they took all the funding away from all these HBCUs or whatnot. So now you have a lot of these schools that aren't even HBCUs anymore. They're literally like half other ethnicities because they need the money.
Shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a school like
that would make sense though.
Down in I want to say in South Carolina, where their percentage of black folks is only like 55% or something like that.
Damn, that's crazy.
For an actual HBCU, there's an actual thing on Viceland. You remember the Vice, the news thing or whatnot?
Yeah.
So they have a thing on there. It says that I'm a white kid at an all-black high school or at an all-black HBCU, and it like goes digs down and how he feels about it. It's pretty crazy.
I bet they love that shit though, huh?
You already know.
I bet they love it.
They're the token white dude.
Hell yeah. That's just probably lit. Well, I saw some little thing where I gotta go to because I want to shout the young man's name because I want to give him credit. Unless Steph pulls it up before me and then she can say it, but let me pull up the save stuff. What is Buddy's name?
What are you looking for?
The guy who's like the president of like the HBCU thing. What's Buddy's name?
President, you remember the guy that
he's like,
I think he was a billionaire, graduated from Howard, ended up paying like all this their tuition?
Yeah, so I think this guy is just like maybe he's just in charge of his clothing line. Either way, well, it's like a ad for clothes, so it doesn't actually say his name on the ad. You got
support black colleges, the clothing line.
Yeah, it's like a clothing line thing, but it's kind of dope, man. Their clothes are really brightly colored. They say support black colleges on the front. It's all sold out. Yeah, that's super dope, man. Big props to them for holding it down. Shout out to any and all people that go to HBCUs. I have a lot of friends that went to HBCUs, man. Shit, I wish I could have gone to one. That would have been lit. I just went to a janky ass community college. Shit, I'm like,
you're better than me. I didn't even do that. So.
Yo, not a lot of people do, but hey, man, I mean, listen, maybe there's still an opportunity. We could all pull up to a HBCU, take this show down there. They got any HBCUs out in Washington, do you think?
Hell no. Hell no. And if they did, they probably got shot up.
Yo, I could see them having one like in Spokane, probably. Like if there was gonna be one, it would be in Spokane.
Fuck. Sign me up. Honestly, it would be in the South End, bro.
That should be probably be lit. All right, so I guess we're gonna have to talk about it's very briefly, but the NBA has asked players to not high five fans due to the coronavirus outbreak. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, don't touch me. I don't know where you've been.
That's true. I don't think the NBA even cares, bro. I'm looking at this game right now between Golden State and Toronto. This motherfucker looks sold out. They don't even care out in California.
Well, you gotta remember that's got Steph Curry playing.
Yeah, that's true. Motherfuckers are risking it for Steph.
Like biracial angel.
But also, everybody's passing away from it here in Washington, not California.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but
they probably feel safe.
Yo, there's some like sporting leagues that are talking about like for soccer specifically overseas. In one of their leagues, they're talking about playing all the games with no fans. Like they're not missing the games, but they're not letting nobody come to them because they don't want people there with the virus. So y'all niggas gotta watch it from at home.
When you just tell your family to stay home.
Yeah.
There's I think there's some other teams that are not. They're canceling all. I feel like there was some competitions that were going to be out here, and so they canceled them.
Oh, really?
Seattle.
I bet.
The thing that's bothering me the most is that they pushed back James Bond for November. What the fuck?
What do you mean, like the movie?
The movie.
For what? Because of coronavirus?
Because they think people aren't going
When was that supposed to drop? This week?
This summer.
I thought James Bond didn't come out till April. They're pushing it back till November now?
Yeah, they're pushing it back all the way till November. It's supposed to come out next month.
You know what? I'm very disappointed because I'm a big James Bond fan. Because they think, what? Oh my God.
It's gonna incubate. It's gonna cook in the sun. It just makes worse viruses.
Dude, I'm just watching Buddy on Toronto just dunk on everybody for Golden State. Okay, so that's crazy to me that now we're pushing back movie premieres because of this shit.
Yeah.
Hey, they care about that money though. They don't want to lose out on the bread. So I guess I get it. But now I'm kind of pissed off because I wanted that movie. I've been waiting like 4 years for this movie to come out. And now I got to wait till November. I'm tight. All right.
The movie's already done, so there's going to be a bootleg version out.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Somebody will probably leak that motherfucker. Are we about to talk about, let's talk about snacks real quick. So my man, what's his name, Steph? His nickname is Snacks.
Hey, the manager.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Snacks real quick. Buddy, he's like a basketball team manager. My man, and we've seen a lot of these videos pop up over the last couple of weeks as we come to a close for the basketball season. What's his name? Thomas Lee. Oh, that's his actual name. I thought it just said Thomas. So Thomas Lee, Thomas Snacks Lee. But like I said, we're coming to a close at the end of basketball season where a lot of teams do senior nights and they want to recognize players who haven't played or managers. I know I saw one guy who was recognized at the beginning of a game the other day who had gotten in he got a big-time scholarship to the school, but I guess when he got there, he got in a really bad car accident and was in a coma for a little bit. And then he was able to come back, and then they honored him. He got a bucket and everything. And so it's pretty dope. You know, you see both teams celebrate the student on whatever team he's playing for. And then everybody claps it up. The crowd goes crazy. It's lit. So this guy, Thomas Snacks Lee, he's a student manager. He gets in the game. And my man plays, and he literally plays zero defense. He stands about 10 feet off the three-point line. They pass him the ball, and I'm with no hesitation. My man pulled up from nearly half court, and he left his hand up like he knew it was going in, and he cashed it. I couldn't believe it. And you know what he said after the game? He said, I'm the fat Durant. And then KD sent him a signed jersey, bro. I thought that was lit, man. My man literally caught the ball and he just said, fuck it. I ain't going to be in this game ever again. I might as well just shoot this shit. And he let it go and it went in. Yeah, hell yeah. So shout out to Snacks, man. Thomas Snacks Lee, team manager. I don't know what school he was at.
Hey, bro's about to go, he's about to be lit. They're about to use his name. Snacks is one of the dopest nicknames.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you're going to go viral, they're about to hook you up.
Yeah. Snacks
is about to put you on.
Snacks is about to get some sort of deal or something. I hope he has some talents or something. He's got to be able to do something. Deal. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a little Debbie deal. Speaking of little Debbies, real quick. When y'all go shopping, because I've been looking at a lot of the stores that I shop at, and I've noticed that they don't sell the Star Crunch anymore. Fuck is up with that?
Bro, that's so fucked up. Star Crunch?
Fuck is up with that?
I got low-key, I got bad memories about Star Crunch, bro.
Yo, those things are lit.
They are.
Shout out to Little Debbie.
And when I was a kid, my mom and my fam was real tough about keeping food. And not giving niggas none and shit.
Not giving niggas none. Yo, I'm dead. Yo, what is going on?
It's one of the worst movies I've ever got because I'm older.
Damn, my man, what?
Did you just get home, Jake?
No, I'm actually closing the shop.
Oh, all we heard was a bunch of banging, and then you just came on like you had been talking the whole time. Nobody heard what you were saying.
I said this damn Star Crunch. My family used to You know, because we was broke. So whenever we used to get something good, people would hide it.
Oh yeah, my family did that too. Shout out to my pops for always hiding the Star
I found
Crush.
some that my mom had, and I took some. And bro, I got the worst ass whooping I've ever.
I was about to say, you got what?
I got beyond whooped.
Yo, I feel your pain, bro.
I've never tried those.
You've never tried the Star Crush?
I've literally never.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's basically a chocolate Rice Krispie treat.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Steph.
I think the only thing, the little, what are those? The little wafer, like peanut butter chocolate and
oh, Nutty Buddies?
The Nutter Bars?
Those are trash.
Are those little Debbie's?
Those are trash.
Yeah, they are little Debbie's, but they're garbage.
Those are trash.
Trash.
I'm telling you, I've only tried those and like the little oatmeal cream pie thingies. Oh, and honey buns.
Oatmeal pies are trash. Listen, I'm gonna tell you.
Like the generic ones that I'm.
Yeah, the most generic. I've never even had a Twinkie.
Twinkies are gross. They might last forever.
Like the little
there's a reason for that.
I have them here for my kids, but like I've never.
Twinkies are gross now. Twinkies are gross now, but before.
Oh yeah,
Before they changed up.
The old recipe, they were lit. Yeah, you're right.
The old recipe, they're huge.
All right, let's
I was the kid in school that like had an apple and a sandwich.
Yo, you had a sad life, my nigga. You had a sad life, my nigga. You had an apple and a sandwich. Yo,
you got to bring lunch.
Yo, listen, you know what she was eating? She was eating that school detention lunch. You know the one when you have in school detention and they give you a little cheese sandwich and a fucking apple in a brown bag and say, hey, eat this shit. Here's a milk too.
That's the lunch. That's the lunch they give you when you're out of money, when you're out of lunch money.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is the out of lunch money lunch, your criminal lunch, in school detention lunch. Like it falls into all those categories.
And you know, like the messed up situation about that is like us, the kids that had to eat the actual school lunch thought you guys were lit.
Facts.
You guys came with a lunch.
Facts.
No.
Came with lunch. I'm like, oh, I gotta eat this fucking tasty shit.
No, I'm dead. Are you guys gonna watch Lil Dicky's new TV show?
Fuck no. I barely listen to Lil Dicky's music.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, I watched the first 2 episodes today. I was dying laughing the entire time. It's stupid funny.
Oh, it's a show? Why did I think it was a movie?
No, it's a show on FX, and it's basically a show about him trying to be a rapper. And it's funny.
How do you feel about Lil Dicky? Do you feel like he's trying to culture for upgrade?
So I saw one of my homies from back home put that on today, but I don't know much about Lil Dicky, so I can't really say if he's trying to do, that appropriation thing that people talk about. I don't know anything about him.
I've only listened to his old music. When they went viral, he was on BET and MTV, and he had that song with Chris Brown.
See, this is my thing. I say like this: music is art. Art is subjective. Anyone is allowed to make any type of art they want. We really can't say anything. If BET opts to play his stuff and they plan to spin him, he's not cultural appropriating nothing because we're giving him the space to put his art on that platform.
BET is owned by white folks.
So I thought Buddy was black because didn't he used to own the Bobcats too? What's his name? Bill something? There's a black dude who owned BET.
Like the CEO ended up being like this lady, like the founder CEO was a woman.
So I'll tell you like this. I ain't fucked with BET since AJ and Free left 106 in Park. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think BET is a garbage channel. So I don't know about any of that. So it's basically like MTV then?
I don't know. I haven't watched it forever.
Yeah, neither have I.
106 in Park ain't on no more, so fuck your life. The basement ain't on no more, so you're trash.
The basement, Big Tig. Like I said, I'll go back to this. I don't know if he does those things because I've never really listened to his music. I've heard him do like a couple of freestyles, and I was like, yeah, this shit's cool, but like he didn't sound like someone who could like make like a good song to me. I just thought he was just like a guy who could rap a little bit. Because I know people that are like that can spit fire ass little lines here and there, but they're not like musicians. Like, he's like one of
those goofy freestylers. You see that guy that's like, yeah, he just freestyle out everything.
Yeah, he seems like that to me. Like somebody who has some bars, but like and I will say this, my homeboy DK on the comment, he put what is that beeping shit?
Oh, sorry, I'm driving.
You gotta turn that shit off. But my homeboy was saying that he felt like Lil Dicky was somebody who basically rode the wave of, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm saying, but it sounded like he was telling me that basically Lil Dicky showed up and then, you know, said that he was a rapper and the platform of rap music to then try to leverage himself into these types of opportunities. Because my boy was saying that he was already a comedian. Because my thing was, when I watched the show, I was like, yo, he's stupid funny. Like, I've never really heard him rap, but he should just do comedy full time. And then my boy was telling me that was already his deal, was that he was like a Weird Al Yankovic type of guy.
Yeah, he does comedy rap.
Gotcha.
And then, like, honestly, you gotta remember that he's Jewish.
Yeah, they were making fun of that shit on the show, which I thought was funny.
So he's Jewish, and like with the Jewish community owns the music industry.
I mean, yeah, I've heard those stories, but like for me, like he's not. This would be my thing. If somehow he was like the guy who was like top 10 on every chart and was like getting all this crazy money, and then he just was like, fuck it, I'm leaving to go do these TV shows, then I might think that he actually like kind of stole our culture to leverage himself into other opportunities. But like, I've never really seen him on anything. Like I said, I've heard one or two freestyles, and I know he had a song about cleaning up the earth or some shit like that. Someone showed me. But other than that, see, I remember that because didn't they like play each other on the videos too?
Oh, was that the thing with Kendall Jenner or something?
And he wanted to say, he's like, oh, I wonder if I can say the N-word, all the shit, whatever, they switched off.
That was corny. Yeah.
But that's why he got so big, because he did a song with Chris Brown.
Yeah, see, I don't even, and even that.
All over fucking TV.
See, I didn't even really listen to that shit either. And I'll honestly say for myself, I'm not somebody that really cares. Let me rephrase. It's not that I don't care, but my thing is like it's art. Like, what can you do? Like, if kids wake up wanting to freestyle because their favorite rapper freestyles, can you be mad if they want to find a way to leverage that into a career? Like, I wanted to be a basketball player because Michael Jordan played basketball. Like, am I appropriating his skills because like I want to, like, I mean, maybe you can say that about anything. Everybody's stealing something from everybody because people see the things that they see and then they want to try to imitate that life. And like I said, it's art, it's subjective.
I see it as in, like, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods woke up one day and was like, yo, my dad wants me to play golf. Now Tiger's like, you're the only nigga in fucking golf. All the white folks came for you. So it's the same way not all, but most black folks are coming for Eminem. Him was talking about all the shit that him was talking about. Niggas couldn't say that shit.
I mean, but see, that's my thing is like, I get what you're saying, but I don't believe. You're going into
a situation where you know you can do certain shit and get away with it because you're technically not in that space.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I can understand like what you're saying, but maybe I'm not seeing it like that even with Eminem. And I like I said, I do understand what you're saying because Eminem was rapping about, banging his own mom and, even on his intros and outros on the Marshall Mathers LP, like when he has the song Kim, he's talking about killing Kim and he has her get in the trunk and he's cutting her throat and all these. I get all that. But I don't think we can say that like, well, black people couldn't have done that. They probably could have done that. And maybe people just were looking at it like, I'm not buying this because this don't really sound like some shit that they do. Like that sounded like some stuff that white guys did. But at the same time, M is a good rapper. So I could never look at him and be like, well, he's a guest or he's doing, you know, the appropriation thing, because he's just rapping about the things that he was thinking about or that he thought was crazy. He wanted to be crazy, so he did that. He relied on it. It's his art. So that's why I say, like, to me, it's like art is subjective. So like, I don't know, man. It's like, I think, but if you were to ask me about Vanilla Ice, then I'll be like, well, yeah. I will be like, well, yeah. I don't know. I think, because I think for me, because I think it's like this. We never saw him do anything else. We only saw him try to be like a half of an actor, which he was terrible at. And then he tried to be like a little wannabe rapper and act gangster all the time, and it didn't work out. That to me was more like he didn't come from that. Like Macklemore don't come, like if Macklemore was rapping about struggle and like eating government cheese sandwiches and all that, I'd be like, no, fam, because you don't come from that. So that to me would be like them trying to steal the culture, because that's a part of it. A part of rap is the struggle that these rappers go through before they make it big. But M wasn't rapping like that. M was rapping about his struggle. That's why I say it's his art is subjective. So he's not stealing anything because he's only talking about his circumstances. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't M get in trouble for like saying the N-word hella time?
I didn't hear hella times. I heard that he said something like one time, and then people tried to give him a hard time.
Still technically rapping, like Bieber, same shit. Bieber was caught singing a song called "One Lonely Nigger."
Yeah, that video did happen, and I crushed him for that on this show.
We love Bieber.
No, who's we? No, but James is right though. Black people, for some reason, they do love him. But I also think it's because they love certain black people that fuck with him. Like, even with the herpes thing, people still love Usher. So if people love Usher and Usher reps Bieber, because Bieber was supposed to be crucified for that video that he made, but Usher vouched for him. And everybody loves Usher, so people just let the shit slide. But a lot of people were kind of like, well, nah, I don't give a shit if, like, I love Usher's music too, but like, just because Usher said it was cool didn't mean that I thought that shit was cool. Like, I still think Justin Bieber's whack for that shit. But that's, you know, but also at the same time, like, I wasn't about to just be like, well, you know, I'm gonna let him slide because his music is great. Like, I've had people tell me about the Eminem thing, but I've never seen the video or heard it. I'm not denying that it exists, but like, I've never seen that shit. I saw that Justin Bieber video. Now, if someone wants to pull up that Eminem thing,
Eminem admitted it though, right?
I've never seen that before. That's the thing. And even if he did, so then this is my thing. Then this is my thing. If that's the case, M is trash for that. M is trash for that if he did that.
See it makes it okay?
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that because I didn't see it that it makes it okay. What I'm saying is that based on what I did about Bieber, because I know what people are going to say. They're going to say, well, why didn't you crucify M, but you crucified Bieber? So when I talked about Bieber on the shows, because that day they were sharing that video of him literally sitting in that chair, doing that interview and singing those lyrics. Now, I've heard on many accounts that M said this stuff, and I've said many a time, for me, it's the same thing with Kobe. Kobe had his little court case. If that stuff is true, he's garbage for that aspect of his life. That shit is disrespectful. It's degrading. No one wants to be around somebody who's doing that stuff. But in regards to his basketball skills, it don't diminish his skills for me in any type of way, because his basketball is separate from those little mistakes that he made. So, like I said, for me, if M did that shit, then M is garbage for that. But at the same time, if people are looking at M and they're being like, oh, well, he's a good dude, or maybe he didn't mean it, and we give people second chances, then you kind of just have to be like, it's whatever. Like, I don't really care that Justin Bieber's still famous, even after he did that shit. Like, what can you do? People want to put him in that position. That's where they want him. That's where he's going to sit. I mean, you got to think, man, he still made millions upon millions of dollars, and we have him on tape saying the N-word. That show, and the person who reps him the most is a black guy that most black people love, which is Usher. So it's like, what can you really say about Bieber? That's what it is. People are going They're going to rep and ride for who they want to ride for.
Pretty much the same thing. It's like, okay, well, I rock with him because I didn't hear him say that. I don't know that him said that, but I saw Bieber say that. So Bieber's trash because I clean it. But and Biggs actually admitted it, but because you didn't hear or see it, you can say like,
I literally just said if he said that, he's trash for that. I just said that. You heard me say that, right? You literally heard me say that if he did that, that he's trash for that. So then he's trash for that. That's what I said. I'm just saying I've never seen no one has produced a video or even this, like I've heard that he did this on a song that was well before he got famous. I've never heard that song. I'm not saying that dismisses what he did. I'm just saying I've never seen or heard that of him. But if he did that, then he's garbage. The same way that I think Justin Bieber's garbage because he did it, right? If everybody in the world saying he did it, I think M is garbage for that if that's what he said. But that does not take away from his skill set. You see what I'm saying? I think we might be talking about two different things because I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying that for me, it doesn't change the type of skills that M has. Kobe's situation in Colorado didn't change the fact that he was a great basketball player. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, but where does Bieber fit into that?
Well, I don't know because I don't listen to Bieber's music. I literally know one song from Justin Bieber. So like I'm not gonna say whether I don't like his music particularly because like I don't think much of him. But do I think he's like appropriating our culture? No, because black people allow him to have a seat at the table. So you can't go back and say that he's stealing the culture when we're providing him.
So that's the thing. So there's this thing out right now, but there's the thing with Bruno Mars.
Isn't Bruno Mars black?
No.
See, I didn't know that. I thought he was a black dude.
No, Bruno Mars is like Hawaiian and Filipino or some shit. No black in him whatsoever.
But people think that he's stealing the culture because of the type of music that he makes?
Because the type of music he's able to do that because he technically doesn't have not set technically like a culture, but like they don't really. He's like colorless. I guess they're trying to say. Like you said, you thought
I thought he was a black dude, but I wouldn't have cared because his music is just good. If he can sing, he can dance, he can entertain. Like that's just his steez. Like he's good at a craft. The weird thing about this is I will say this: music, sports, any of these things, nobody owns any of this shit. Black people don't own basketball. White people don't own baseball. Like we don't own rap music. It's all art. It's you learning a craft and then displaying your skills within that craft at the highest level. And then people show you appreciation based on how skilled you are or how, at this point, how popular you become. But at the same time, like I said, it's all art. So like, again, I'm never going to, like I said, I had no idea that he wasn't black. I thought he was a black dude, but I would have never guessed that people thought that about Bruno Mars. I just thought he was a good entertainer. So that's weird. That's news to me. I didn't know that. Yeah, I did not know that. You were the first person to tell me that.
Same thing with Justin Timberlake.
Really? I think JT. See, I just think he's just a talented guy who appreciates good music.
So my thing is like, okay, so you're telling they look at it and say, why are you going from NSYNC to having a whole album with Timberlake?
Like, he's not allowed to do that?
That's not what I'm saying. They're saying like, why? So you're taking a culture that you had nothing to do with, but because this group of rock with you, so now you're gonna use it to get the money for it. So now, but once you get to that point, what he did, now you're already to that point when everybody fucks with you. Now you put out a country album.
But see, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just seeing it different because, like, I feel like I don't really see the difference between his songs from NSYNC versus his songs solo. Besides the fact that there's less people singing. Listen, let me finish. There's less people singing, and his beats were just different. But at the same time, it's him singing, and they're making songs. It's love music. It's ballads to women, and it's just songs. So like I'm asking you. I want more explanation, I guess, as to why people would think that about it. Because I'm just not thinking of it from that perspective. So I'm interested in what you mean by all that.
I mean, you go from a boy band, like the whitest boy band that you can do, pretty much, type of thing, and you leave that boy band to pursue R&B music.
Okay.
You had it's ass backwards.
So did we say the same thing about Michael Jordan when he went to play baseball? Because baseball is predominantly white. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just asking like a devil's advocate. That's what I'm playing, because that's where I'm confused.
Yeah, you don't remember. So do you remember the stories about Jordan like being booed and like getting shit thrown at him when they were traveling?
Yeah, but I assume that was because more people thought that it was more of a joke, that he hadn't played baseball hardly ever since he was a little kid, and then used his star power to just show up and then play pro baseball.
Fucking Michael Jordan, because
what's that?
You're throwing shit at him because they didn't like the color that he was. He was on pretty much what they call like it wasn't AAA, it was fucking like the low end. So they were taking trips to Alabama, Arkansas.
Well, that's where the Barons are, is in Alabama.
You know what I'm saying? So now you're playing for baseball where you're not wanted. Yeah, niggas didn't want, or the white folks didn't want Jordan to play.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I get that, I see what you're saying in that regard, how you're kind of comparing the two. Like the way that they're kind of throwing stuff at him is kind of the same way about how we would. I mean, everybody gets beat up in hockey, but I know what you mean. They get treated way worse. I know. What's his name? I can't remember Buddy's name, but I know he gets treated hella bad when he goes to games, and I get that because most, where where hockey is predominantly played, it's mostly white people, and they don't think that other people should play the sport. I get it, but again, that's if using that example. My guy liked hockey. He grew up watching hockey, grew up playing hockey. So he can't play hockey because he's not white.
We're talking about a culture.
So are you...
That don't make no sense, bro.
Huh? Sorry.
No, go ahead, Steph.
So you're saying because the difference is for me, example, like all my childhood I listened to R&B, hip hop, rap, whatever. If for some reason I had that talent and I went out and wanted to do R&B, it would be okay. But if I started out doing pop and then I transitioned to R&B, that's different. Is that what you're saying? I'm trying to follow.
To an extent, like if you've always been known, if you've been known as a country singer, like look at
like Shania Twain or something, and then all of a sudden she comes out with like
switches and she goes, I want to go R&B. Boom. Take all that back. Look at what happened to them.
I feel like.
Listen, real quick. Hey, real quick. Hold on. I don't mean to cut you guys off. Let me close out the radio show, and then we'll continue the conversation on the live stream. So anyway, we obviously have a wild show going. Thank you for tuning in. If you're on Track Talk Radio, switch over to the YouTube channel if you weren't already listening, and you can hear the rest of our conversation on this. Don't worry, we're all friends here. We're not getting frustrated with each other. I'm just hella confused and trying to figure out why it seems like it's one way with some people and another way with others. But either way, the Ryan Show is up next. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week on Track Talk Radio. Hopefully this virus shit will be done, and then we'll all be in the same room arguing and not on a telephone call and then one nigga in a room by himself. Because it's probably weird looking at me on screen, not talking, but listening to them talk, and I'm making funny faces.
Wait, give them your YouTube name.
Oh, yeah. Go to Memechel Jackson on YouTube, and you can watch the show. That's where we will continue what we were talking about. Because now I need to know about Shania Twain. I didn't know she tried to be an R&B singer. So anyway, the Ryan. Oh, okay. So that was not real. Okay, we're not starting rumors. I thought that was a real thing. But anyway, the Ryan Show is next. Thank you for tuning in to Track Talk Radio. Listen to the last little bit of this Jay-Z record before we close out the show, man. All right. So anyway, like I said, I get what you guys are saying. I guess it probably is coming off like I'm disagreeing. I'm just looking at it very differently because I'm thinking of it from this perspective. Music, sports, any of that shit, it's all just crafts. Anybody is allowed to participate. Anybody is allowed to improve their skills.
I mean, that's low-key, that's everything in life.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything in life.
But I just think it's weird. I think it's
how society looks at it.
You're right. No, you're definitely right. That's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing because I know how people view it.
You know,
but I hate that people can't.
When they tell you you're free to go when you're in jail or you're getting interviewed, and niggas still sit there, but you know you're free to go.
This guy. That's true though. No, like I said, I totally get it. I just think it's weird that people look at things like that as if one person could never ever do something else within a similar craft. And so just going back to what I was saying about JT, I'm not gonna say that he isn't, or say that people who think that he is cultural appropriating are wrong. I'm not saying that. But for me, I've never felt like what he was doing was like disrespectful, because it seems like he took the craft seriously. He spent time doing pop music.
And I'm in the boat because I like Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, I do too.
It is what it is, bro. Make the music, I'm rocking.
Yeah.
But from the other side, that's like been a big thing. Like even when he did the halftime show in Minnesota.
Halftime show. Oh, like Super Bowl?
Yeah, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So he did all that stuff. He did all the Prince stuff, knowing that Prince didn't fuck with him. Knowing that Prince actually hated him.
Yeah, well, that's not cool.
But yeah, you go out and you do the tribute, you do all that stuff, but they literally
but also, what about the things that we don't know? Like, what if he, based on when he signed on to do it, because they picked those people like a year ahead of time.
They do understand, but he had the Prince estate ask him not to do it.
But what if he's contractually obligated and the Prince estate was not? No. What I'm saying.
Do Prince's song is Prince tells you can't.
No. What I'm saying is, what if they were not a part of that? And then based on the deal that's brokered by the NFL has all these mandated things. And what if he just doesn't want to breach contract? What if those are the things you find out in 5 years in a memoir? Are you going to feel differently?
But you would have, like, if you actually, like, you would really, they would really have to cut it.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
The NFL would have to talk to the estate of Prince. And they knew that Prince didn't fuck with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
So that means you would have to pay them to let Justin Timberlake sing and do all and have Prince's face on the big old thing and do the whole Purple Rain and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's way much. I don't think that they would allow that.
Yeah, I mean,
Prince just died.
And I will say stuff like that, to me, I think things like that, those little one-off situations are super, super lame. But again, I'll just say for me, and like I know you acknowledge like you are a fan of his. I'm also a fan. I struggle to.
I'm coming from like all the other ones. Remember when the Janet Jackson thing went down?
Yeah, where he
So yeah, pulled the boot, all that stuff. So the same exact stuff. So when all that went down, Janet Jackson, she took all the backlash, took everything.
Yeah.
So during that time, Black Twitter, Black community, was like, yo, Jay, this was on you. This was your fault. You need to come out and apologize, help out, whatever. He doubled down on the fact of saying that though he didn't know it was all Janet Jackson's fucking thing and all this shit. So that was like another. It's just I rock with Justin Timberlake.
See, this just seemed. I know, like a lot of the stuff you're naming, this just seemed like these are just examples of him just kind of being like an asshole, kind of, and like kind of just taking the check and being like, "Yo, I'm just gonna take the check and like run." And I'm totally okay with that. I would be in full agreement of that. Like, if you're not gonna vouch for the person you're on the stage with, and you're gonna let them take the fall, that shit's corny.
Remember when he was when he left the boy band, and he was with Britney Spears, and it was like this whole boy band, Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake. I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna go that route, take that route. Stay with boy band, stay with the pop singing thing.
But at the same time, there would have been no point because there was no future in that. As soon as NSYNC and Backstreet Boys all fell off, the boy bands didn't exist. So if he loves music,
so
and
you stay with the pop
but there was no solo. But you gotta think, bro. There's no solo pop singers though at that time who were popping like that. If you have the skills and talent to do other things and be versatile, why is it that he has to stay where he's at? But you're saying that he just shouldn't have had a career then?
Okay.
But if he has the talent to get the money elsewhere, why are we mad about that? That's him cultural appropriating?
The culture, right?
I don't think he did, because Timberland stepped up and was like, I want to rep you, bro. I want to hold you down. He don't have to make those beats for him. Come on.
It's to the point where like, oh, I'm not getting any love over here.
I don't think that wasn't the case though, because everybody already loved him.
Okay, so
NSYNC wasn't no slouch group. They just the boy bands just started to phase out.
You stayed in the pop singing lane. You're saying there was no love for him in the pop singing lane, so he had to choose another one.
No, what I'm saying is that when their boy band starts to fold, if you are multi-talented and there's no reason for you to, you've already kind of mastered this aspect of music. Why is it like a crazy notion that he would try to like extend his talents and try to get better at his craft? His craft is music. That doesn't just mean that it's only pop or it's only this or it's only that. Like, he's multi-talented.
Tell that to Nelly that tried to put out a country album.
See, okay, so this was one of the points that I wanted to make. Some of these people do these things, but they don't take their crafts seriously when they make that transition. I think if Nelly really wanted to be a country artist, he probably had a good opportunity. There are black guys who do country music, but Nelly.
But he's a black rapper.
I don't think country music took him seriously. That's why. But Justin Timberlake was already singing songs about the way that he loved women. They translate the same. The beats are just different. You see what I'm saying? Pop music and R&B, although they're not the same in the realm that Justin was in, he's singing about the same content. I love this girl. I want this girl. Be my girl. Everything is about him singing about a girl. So there really is.
You say that about country music. Why don't you go country then?
Well, it's like Memechel went country.
For how long?
I think she still does country music.
She still does it. Like, it's recent. She mentioned that she originally, like, in her singing career, started out yodeling.
Yeah.
Before.
And she's actually a really good yodeler too. That's the crazy. That's how she got on.
And did they accept her?
I don't.
Did the yodeling community accept her? I've never seen a yodeling.
Is there a yodeling community?
I believe so at the time.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is. I thought it was just her and that little white kid.
What about Tina Marie?
Who the fuck is that?
You don't know
Rick James? You talking about Rick James' girl?
Yeah, Tina Marie.
Oh, I thought you were talking about somebody new. You mean like old school? You're talking about old school.
R&B. Tina Marie.
I'm talking about Rick James.
Damn.
No, I'm talking about Tina Marie. I know Tina Marie was James.
Yeah.
I know Fire and Desire, but I'm talking about Tina Marie.
I was not expecting Tina Marie.
What else did she do?
So, okay, so you're saying, so if you start out in another genre, what if you like more than one?
That's what I'm saying, man. It's art, man. I don't.
Like myself, I like country, but I love R&B. I love old school.
So say that.
And then I will go
So say you love all that, but yet somebody comes to you and say, hey, you can make a lot of money in this country lane.
No, because that's not what I like. But
okay. But yet if you do it, say you do it. Say you do it. Say you go out and you do the country because you have the look. People already are rocking with you.
So okay, how about I'll say this because
then it comes down to I think when you put like race to to it or that, then it's like it's different, right?
So I'll say this, James. I think
that's what we're talking about.
James, I think James, I think you're exactly right when you talk about the money aspect of it. If somebody's only doing it to chase the money, that's way different from what I'm talking about. Because look, if you're looking at the longevity of Justin's career, he obviously didn't just show up to do R&B music as like some funny ass thing to try to make money, similar to how we kind of started the conversation with Lil Dicky, like where people are saying that he only did like the rap thing in an effort to boost his comedy. That's way different than what we're talking about specifically with Justin, because he just loves music. So that's why you've seen him in pop and then in R&B and then country.
I'm going from like you're saying to use it. So that's what I'm saying. He left the pop culture because nobody was rocking with solo pop singers, right?
I mean, I don't think it was that no one.
But I think what he's saying is he like that was done, that was dead. But he loved music, all different forms of music. He loved R&B too. So let's grow in that aspect. I don't necessarily, but I see what you're saying. For somebody who is not a fan, does not love that type of music at all.
Like, bro, you came from Disney.
So I will say, I think, have you ever seen
in Orlando, Florida? This is why I say this about Justin Timberlake, because if you guys know his career before, like he was a country singer.
He started out in the Mickey Mouse Club.
Star Search.
That's where, but he started out like he literally got his shine. Star Search, Mickey Mouse Club. Yeah, we know all that. And then he became the NSYNC guy. But you gotta think, this is a thing. This is a thing, and that's okay because that's a song that they picked. You gotta think that's a song that they picked.
No hip hop, no R&B in his life until after he was doing it.
If you go back and you look at him actually as a person, don't take the Star Search thing. Look at him as a person. Look how his mom talked about him and look how he acted when he was a kid. You will see that Justin, in regards to where he grew up, was probably about as black as they came. He loved our people. He loved our people. He loved their music. That's what he had been doing. Bro, one song being performed on a thing does not mean he's cultural appropriating. What are you talking about? People, Ruben Studdard performed a bunch of different songs on American Idol. Does that mean that he's any less than what he was? He didn't always perform every R&B song. People perform different stuff. You got to have versatility when you participate in the craft. It's like you're saying that if a guy only could dunk, like, and he started doing other things, and you're saying, well, he's not a real basketball player because he started doing things outside of his wheelhouse. He's improving his skill set.
Not even close.
But how is it not though? Because it's not, like I said, it's way different.
That your Justin Timberlake can go to every genre of music and do whatever because it's music, right?
If he takes the shit seriously and he loves it enough, yes, because that's his choice. It's his art. But you're trying to tell me that you want to put a stop to this man's art because you don't feel like he should be able to do all these different things. But why though? Because he's white?
No, I don't want to put a stop to him. I'm with it. I'm coming from the devil's advocate. I'm coming from the other side.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
From what people are saying.
I see what you're saying.
I'm coming from what his whole career has been known.
You
can't tell me that you're an R&B hip hop loving kid when you were a country singing Memphis born kid, then moved to Florida, sung your whole song doing country, and then you got picked up to do pop music, to do a boy band music, and then, like you said, pop music wasn't for the solo person. You go on to R&B hip hop because black folks and black girls and all that stuff were rocking with you from NSYNC already. So now it's okay for you to rock with it. But why wouldn't it be? So what's the difference from him going the country route, from where he came from where he started at?
I mean, again, I think he's just singing songs that he likes. He's participating in music that he cares for. Like, I don't feel like he disrespects the craft. So for me, I don't feel like anything's being appropriated because he's not. I don't feel like he's showing me that he's disrespecting it. And what I mean is by Not like I don't think Post Malone takes rap music serious.
So,
I think that.
It's profiting, not disrespect.
But you also gotta think it's a job though. Everybody's profiting, so it's a job. So the same thing has to be kind of applied to black people though too. But this is the thing though. But what about a rapper? What about a rapper who's never lived the street life ever, but only raps about it and gets paid? Is he appropriating the culture?
Appropriating his culture or the drug culture?
But that's the thing. So now we have to differentiate culture before we can actually say that it is or isn't. I'm saying he's straight up. He's never done any of the stuff that he raps about. But listen. He's never done any of the stuff that he raps about. But he raps about it and he receives a check for it. Is he appropriating culture?
There's literally the drug culture. That's literally a fucking thing.
No, I'm saying he's a rapper. I'm not saying that it has to be specifically drugs. He's a rapper who raps about content that he does not participate in. Is he appropriating culture?
Or even an R&B singer.
Yeah, and just anybody. Anybody.
Okay, but what?
Or like, what if he's singing about girls, but he secretly likes guys? Like, is he appropriating culture?
That's gang culture, not black culture.
Nah, man, because rap music is not just gang culture, bro. Rap is so many different things.
You're literally, I'm specifically talking about the specific things that you guys are asking. You're saying if a rapper is talking about drugs, he's never done drugs.
No, I said anything. He's rapping about content that he's never lived in his life. It doesn't necessarily mean drugs. It's anything.
Okay, check it out. So if I'm rapping about drugs, I've never done drugs or whatever. I'm appropriating the drug culture.
Yeah, I get that because you're specifically talking about drugs in this instance. I'm just talking. My statement is very general.
If I'm a R&B singer, like you said, and I'm singing about being a blood, I am appropriate. I'm gay.
No, not singing about it, but giving off the perception that that's what you are, and portraying yourself that way,
and then making money off of it.
You're appropriating gang culture. That was the same thing why YG was getting so mad at Tekashi because he was appropriating gang culture. You're not a thug. You're not a G. You're not a blood.
Yeah, but even now you're talking about a guy who was specifically doing. My thing was just very general. It's any rapper at all who's rapping and using content and lyrics and saying that he does things that he or she does not do. Are they appropriating culture?
Those are specific cultures.
I guess I'm just gonna have to say, all right. I feel like maybe my question is not coming out right. Maybe I'm not phrasing it correctly because I guess I'm just not seeing the difference. For me, it's very simple, and maybe that's my problem. Is I'm kind of just too black and white. I feel like if you're talking about things that you're not doing and you're receiving a check off of it, then you are doing the same thing that we're complaining about other people doing, right? Because then what would really be the real beef with these artists like a Justin or a Bieber, like because they're just singing songs. So like
I'm saying this is not me.
Yeah, no, I know you're speaking from.
They're making money off the culture. Is what I'm saying. That's what they're saying. They're making money off. They're making money. So why don't you? So say you got Timberlake, cool, but yet you don't have the same people that are supporting Usher.
What do you mean?
But yet you're doing the same thing. It's like they're doing the same thing. We're both in R&B. But yet you're making money off of this culture that I should be making money off of. That people should be rocking with me for the same reason. That's not what I'm saying. That's what the black community says about white folks, any other folks in general in this lane.
Gotcha. I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying.
That's why they got so mad about the Little Nas X.
Oh, the country road guy?
The country, yeah, the same shit.
Gotcha.
So they got so mad. Remember, they got so mad about that kid making money off the culture. And then they got mad about him making money about the Levi brand. They got mad at Levi for making a deal with them. So bad that Billy Ray Cyrus decided to jump on the remix just for it.
Yeah, I guess I get it that people will be upset. I guess for me, I will never really look at it like that because I'm just like, if so and so likes to make this music, let them. I didn't like that little Nas X shit. That's for other people. Like I don't care nothing about nothing about that screamed country record to me anyway, except the fact that they use the word Old Town Road and then there's a white guy singing on it who's notoriously known for doing country records. Nothing about that song screams country record to me. But I also don't listen to country, so I wouldn't be able to tell you if that shit matches up with anything else that they're doing. But I see what you're saying, how people would look at that and be like, well, he's coming into our music and trying to steal it. But my point is with this is that no one owns any of the shit. It's art. Art is subjective. You make the art that you want to make. Just take the art seriously. If you don't take it seriously, don't fucking do it. Because that is what would piss me off. If you like I said, I don't think Post Malone takes rap music seriously. And the first video I ever seen him in was him doing some weird ass like techno shit where he was wearing jean shorts that were freaking hugged up on his ass. And he was in a video dancing around. Like it was not none of this rap shit that he's doing now. And I remember showing that video to people and people showing it to me and people saying that about him, that he was appropriating culture. And I guess with that, I could believe it because I don't think he takes the shit seriously because it's his craft. It's your job. You're receiving a check. Put more effort into your job.
How much more effort if you're getting multi-platinum records?
But is he getting multi-platinum records? Is he getting multi-platinum records because of his skills or because of the features that he has? Like, does anyone think that guy's actually good at rap music? Or am I?
He doesn't even say that he's a rapper. That's the cool part about him.
Oh, what is he then?
What's he say? He said he doesn't rap. He said he just makes music.
He's like an entertainer. See, and that's what I'm okay with it because he's not somebody walking around being like, "Yo, I'm a rapper," but then that was kind of what my point is. Exactly. So then I can retract my statement about him. If Post Malone's not walking around saying that he's a top 10 rapper in the game, and referring to himself as rapper, then I'm fine with it because he doesn't do anything that symbolizes rap, in my opinion. But that's just how I think. I don't know, man. I like James. I definitely get what you're saying, man. And I appreciate us getting into this. I think it's good for the show, man. I like it because I think it is something to be talked about.
It is.
Again,
the thing I fuck with, like all these dudes that people like say are appropriating the culture. Like I fuck with these people. Like Bruno Mars, I fuck with Bruno Mars. Justin Timberlake,
they got good music. What's the problem? I don't understand why people can't. Like, we can't like everybody. I get it that not everybody can always get paid, but shit, we can like everybody. I mean, everybody can put good hits out.
When you sit down and you actually like listen to what the other side is saying, like I understand. That's not gonna stop me from listening to this guy's music.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's certain shit like his country album. I'm not listening to Justin Timberlake's country album.
I didn't know he had a country album. I knew he did a country song with the one guy, was it Chris Stapleton or something like that? But I didn't know he had a whole album.
I didn't know he had a country album.
I mean, I'm not with that. So that's what I'm saying. Like that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Why do that?
Yeah.
Why go to the country route? Because people have been fucking with you for so long. Now you can do that.
Yeah. Unless maybe he's in a space where he, kind of like how you were saying, if maybe this is where he started, maybe he, in his opinion, he feels like I'm really just going back to my roots. He might feel like that. And other people might be like, well, why did you do that? But why Bo Jackson play football and baseball and do all these things? Like, people just love what they love. Man. That's what they're going to do.
Culture appropriation, being that he didn't want to do it, he was in for the money.
Who's that?
But how do you know he didn't want to do it? And he loves R&B and he loves country and he loves, like, for me, I feel like I can love multiple genres of music. That doesn't mean like I have to pick one and stick with it.
And so, okay, but so does that mean that you're allowed to do all the music because you love it?
Well, yeah, because it's your choice.
I have multiple jobs that I work, and so like I feel like I feel like if I
do you have these multiple jobs?
Do you have
multiple jobs in the same thing?
No. I own a notary company. I work in health insurance. I sell eyelashes, and I sell CBD products as well as like I have multiple. And then real estate.
But yeah, okay. So I love cutting. So that means I'm gonna go and do all the haircuts. I'm gonna go in.
Well, do you only cut one style, or do you cut multiple different styles?
Well, no. See, I'm not gonna go to Supercuts and do 15-minute haircuts.
No, I'm not saying where you go, but I'm just saying, like, do you only do one cut, or do you do multiple?
I don't want to do that. That's not my style.
But also the thing about this. So let me hold on real quick. Let me pitch him this though. Using your example, and if you had all the skills to do every single thing that every person on the planet needs done in cosmetology, you knew you had those skills, and say you had 3 days a week that were open, wouldn't you go like do women's hair if you knew you could make all the money? And you knew you could get the clientele, wouldn't you do it?
For what though?
Because you can, if you know you can charge $400 or $500 a haircut, why wouldn't you?
So if I know I can charge $400 or $500 for a haircut, I'm gonna go to that now.
No, what I'm saying is like you're working at the shop Monday through Friday, and then you have a free day where you want to do 3 or 4 little cuts. Like you have the skills to do it. You know people will pay you. Like why wouldn't you take it if you have that ability?
Because I know somebody that's gonna pay me $400 or $500 more to do the service that I'm perfected. Not that I'm low key, I'm good at this, but I'm perfect at this. And they're paying me $400 to $500 more than this other little haircut that I'm doing. So when I do, and so I do go into this Supercut, and I go in there, and they're like, bro, what are you doing here? Why are you here? You can make these $400 or $500 over here. And you're in here like, I can do it, so I just want to be here because I can do it.
No, but
how does that make the Supercut girl feel that I just came in here like, I'm here, don't worry about it?
I mean, but now we're getting into a situation where it seems like she needs to get her skills up and improve her security within herself. You can't worry about what the next person's doing, because if you have the skills to earn the money, no, but I'm saying if you have all the skills to earn the money, why does it matter how you earn the money? That's kind of what I'm saying. If you have the skills and you have the love for them, what my point was in using that example is, you do your job at the shop like normal, but you know that you have the skills, you can make the money, and you enjoy doing it. I wouldn't look at you and be like, oh, you're a sellout, bro. I'd be like, oh, my man's, it's another added stream of income. He's still getting his money. He's getting busy. He has this talent, so he's using it. You see what I'm saying?
But I'm also stepping on somebody else's foot.
But are you though?
I'm also, yes.
I mean, we're doing that right now. We're doing that right now by doing this show when there's people that want to do a show, but they don't do a show, but we're doing a show. So are we stepping on their toes?
No, because they can't do it. What do you mean? They're not here. They're not in the space.
But what do you mean? This is easy. You get a laptop and a microphone and a camera, and then you're good.
But they're not doing it. They're not doing it. So what I'm saying, so say I can cut Supercut hair. I can cut a little kid's haircut. Quick. Why am I gonna go into this spot and step on this other girl's toes? That's all she can do.
No, I totally get that. But again, that goes into where that ends up being her problem. It's a gig economy. People are gonna go. People are gonna go to who's the best.
That's not only her problem. That portion's problem. That's the people that can only do Supercut haircut, which is a.
So why limit yourself?
Which is a culture.
Of only people that can only do
Supercuts is culture.
A fiend like dead ass. There's literally a culture. You got people that go to school.
Oh my
God.
God.
School because all they want and can do is supercut haircut. That's it.
But you know
They're
what?
Not gonna come to my barbershop.
So this is the thing.
They're gonna be like, yo, this is how we do it at Supercut, and this is what I'm gonna train you to do.
No, so if you go to Junior RS, they're gonna teach you either you're gonna be a colorist or you're gonna be a
I know you gotta specialize in an area.
You gotta specialize.
I went to go do it, and then I went to jail, so I couldn't go to school.
But imagine, what if you
so
keep just going back and you get different specialties over and over
We're
again?
We're going to the same school. We go to the same school. We're going to Junior RS. But yet, they're only teaching you to do color. And they're teaching each other to go to haircut. But we go to the same shit. We're learning the same thing. We're paying the same amount of money.
Yeah.
But you pick what you want to do, right?
Low key, no. They pick what you're good at.
Well, but then that comes down to the individual. That comes down to the individual and their ability to pick up, learn, and retain a specific craft. You also have the option to learn more at your choosing.
That also means if I'm doing this color and this hairstyle, this hair lady comes over, and she comes over to my shit and is trying to tell me and show me what to do with my color, I'm gonna feel a type of way.
But it's cool.
No, I'm saying in life in general, because you're going to school. If you go to GMRS, they're not going to teach you how to cut and color.
You get to. I feel like you get to do a little bit of every area.
You get the basics. So now you're a basic.
But then there's extra. No, but then there's extra
you're
training
you can do because they have extra and I'm a master
to do after that.
But even like I said again, even if that's the case, everybody has their choices. I can get more skill, gain more skill, go to school more. I can do all these things. Maybe my process is delayed, but eventually I can get to the point where I'm in the same space as you. Maybe I'm not as good as you, but I can learn and obtain the same certificates that you could. And then when you show up, it could be both of us getting the money, right?
Then you get there, and then you start getting paid more than me because of the way that you look.
So now I was confused for a second, but now we're kind of introducing the color thing into it.
Yeah. Now you're getting paid more. We do the same exact thing, but you're getting paid more because you're more of what the people want.
But at the same time, like I guess I can. Okay, let me say this. I can see that if customer reviews say that the reason they didn't go to this specific person was because of how they looked, but you never really know if that's the case or if the person just doesn't have the skills, right?
How would you broaden that out in like the music industry? Because obviously that's one-on-one. Okay, this person.
Yeah.
How do you broaden out in the music industry? We both do the same music. We both do the same shit. But yeah. Because you're more fair-skinned, more of the world rocks with you.
But do you think that Justin really ended up getting on because he was white, or is because he had the support of Timbaland, who at the time was still a top 10 beat maker and producer in the game when Justin made that transition? Because look at Justin Bieber, he had Usher. Like, you think if he would have somebody else, maybe he wouldn't have been that good. Because you could look at 50 Cent. Like 50 Cent may not have the same career if he didn't have Eminem and Dr. Dre. You're talking about putting people you're matching them with great people who already have tons of support behind them. So can we really say that maybe other artists at that time made less because they were black and he was white?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I guess I would still need to look at the variable of a Timbaland versus, if you have me producing your record and Timbaland producing your record, who's getting you to where you need to go faster? It's probably going to be the guy who was already multi-platinum and all those things.
Why? If not because white folks fucking rock with Timbaland?
Well, no, Timbaland wanted to rock with Justin. So he rocked with him. The same way Eminem wanted to rock with 50. You see what I'm saying? So like, it's powerful people putting people in positions to be successful.
Because of the money.
Well, yeah, but that goes back to my last point, where then you kind of have to look at it as like, to some degree, maybe it's not necessarily like it's appropriation. Maybe it's just favoritism. Maybe they're looking at someone who had already been on TV. We don't have to train them to get them camera ready, blase, because labels are a part of this too. So you got to remember who's at the
labels come to the point where, bro, we're about to make so much money off of this kid.
Yeah, and so maybe they make those choices. Like, so that kind of goes back to my thing, where I don't know if that means that it's specifically him or that artist appropriating culture, because it's all about the other variables, the people that they get set up with, and like, how we prop people up in the world. Like, you can name 10 artists right now that we know are complete garbage, but they still get deals. But that's because they're popular and people want to put them on. Like, do y'all really think the Migos is good? Come on, man. But there's something about them that people love. So they put them in the forefront. Like, my man Futuristic has more bars than anybody I've ever heard. He ain't all that famous. Same thing with King Los. King Los is one of the best rappers of all time. Diddy had him on the shelf for like 10 years. Never put him out. I think it comes down to some of that stuff. But I do understand how the other side sees it. I do think there are a lot of black people who look at Eminem, look at Bieber, look at Timberlake, and they say, these are people who are stealing our culture. I just don't know if I see that in the same way that they do. I don't know.
True. I mean, it happens.
I think it's all good stuff, though, man. I'm very impressed. We are 35 minutes over our time. This might be the best episode we've ever had.
In the chat too. We got James and Leanie B.
Oh, my nigga James Gatlin, yo. Shout out to James. James is my homeboy from when I worked at this place called Medical Records Express. He's family. We were the only 2 black guys there, the only 2 males there also. Shout out to my nigga James Gatlin. I miss you, bro. I love you. Hope you're doing well. Hope your kids are doing well. Hope MRE ain't killing you too bad. Tell Lisa I said what's up. Lisa's our old boss. I quit on Lisa because Lisa pissed me off. I literally went in and threw my shit on the table like I was Rudy. I said, for Rudy, coach. And I went out like a G. Actually, I was a sucker. Sorry, Lisa. Shout out to you though. Good looking out, James. Shout out to Leanie B, my friend Eileen. Hope Eileen's doing well. We did have a couple of fans. Hope you guys enjoyed our argument about supercuts. That was stupid funny. I'm dead. But all right, y'all, man. Hey, listen. If you have been watching the live stream, this has been a lit show. You got 2.5 hours out of us tonight. If Sherry's watching this, Sherry, you can add us on another day and maybe extend the time. We are ready for that shit. We're ready to take it to the top. So,
Sherry, I want to know the exciting news.
Yeah, Sherry had big news for us, but it hasn't been announced yet. So hopefully on Tuesday we'll figure that out. But
we got a sponsor? Ooh, what?
I don't know. I don't know what the news is. It could be something like that, but I really do not know. So hopefully Sherry will tell us. But I appreciate you guys calling in, James and Steph. Thank James. Thank you for bringing all this stuff to us, man. I think this is dope. We had a really great episode, Steph. Thank you for being here and organizing things, especially on the week that I'm kind of feeling under the weather. Hopefully we'll be back next week. Like and subscribe. Go to all of the social media. It's all under the name Memechel Jackson. It's pretty simple stuff. Make sure you follow at Kicks the Barber and at Stephen Lynn. We got to add the whole team, man. We're on our way up. So, and also shout out to Supercuts. All right, y'all. Well, we're gonna close out, man. I appreciate y'all, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Get some rest.
Yeah, I'm about to order some Wendy's.
Hey, do you guys? Real quick before we close out, I want to say this. I'm very upset about this. In the course of my lifetime, I've always wondered why Wendy's didn't serve breakfast, but also didn't let me have a cheeseburger. They wouldn't let me have a cheeseburger before 10 a.m. Now, all of a sudden, Wendy's has breakfast, and they're offering the junior bacon cheeseburger with an egg on it. So now, all of a sudden, that shit is cool. Wendy's, we got beef, dog. I'm telling you, I'm not happy about this shit.
How do you still got the burgers with eggs?
I don't like burgers with eggs on. I think that's just
I
gross.
think that's weird.
I know James doesn't like eggs. You know what, James? No homo, but I thought about you a couple times this week while I was making my eggs. And I was like, yo, I'm literally mixing up this little baby chicken right now. And I'm about to throw some Tony C's on it. It's about to be a Cajun chicken. But them eggs were so damn good. James, you would have been so disappointed in me, bro. Little chickadees, yeah. All right, y'all. Well, thank you for tuning in. So the Memechel Jackson Show was lit. I will check in with you guys later, and we'll be back on next Tuesday. All right. Any last words, guys?
Yep. Wash your fucking hands.
You guys heard it. Wash your hands. It's nasty. The stream is over now.